And what's up, everybody? I got a special show for y'all today, a pre-recorded that I'm doing with Poor Man's Podcast. What'd you add at the end of your name though, Down? It's Poor Man's Podcast. What
Yeah, Poor Man Podcast reacts. Yeah,
reacts?
go ahead, give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content, y'all.
Yeah, go. Y'all got to go check him out, bro. Thank you for coming though. Please make sure to like the video on y'all's way in, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell too, so you can see every time we got shows coming up. Also check us out on Instagram at PurplePodTX, and we're not live today, but we'll be live on all the other platforms on Friday, our next show. But yeah, check us out on Discord as well. There's a link below for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Today we got a really cool interview, guys. We're gonna be talking to the man himself. Because he happens to be in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
We're Texas boys up in here.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are surprised when they see me out here. They just don't know that I moved to Fort Worth like 3 years ago. So I came down from Minnesota, bro. I just couldn't do another winter.
So how long? Like, did you always live in Minnesota your whole life?
Well, I'm from North Carolina.
Okay.
So I'm from North Carolina, moved to Minnesota, did middle school and high school in Minnesota. Then from there, I went to college in Iowa, then to Arkansas. So I've been all over the place. And then I played rugby and went to Colorado, and then lived in California. So
How do you settle in Fort Worth when you like went all over those places?
because I just wanted something warm. Actually, bro, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Not only are the taxes great, because that's part of the reason I came here. It's warm, and I like the pride. I like the pride that people have in America here.
Yeah.
I love that there's a subculture here. They have their own. Texas has its own culture. That's what I like about Texas.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, and I came here to be a Texan. Like some people come and they trying to do, what they did in their state. I'm coming here to integrate with the Texans. I like Texas culture.
That's what I
So,
like to hear
yeah.
because, dude, I'm really crazy about Texas. Like,
Yeah.
really, like I was from here. I'm born here in Dallas, and like I'll never leave.
Yeah, they very
Like this
powerful people in Texas,
this is
bro.
my
That's what I
fort,
like.
bro. Like,
Yeah, I
the
like
way I
that.
see it is just that I think the problem today, just for a lot of people, is that like they don't represent anywhere. They don't like have a lot of pride, like you're saying, in where
Yeah,
they are, and because of that, communities fall apart.
yeah,
Cities fall apart,
yeah,
and even Dallas, even Fort Worth, Texas, they could even fall apart too if that pride ever falls.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
why I like it here because their rules are their rules, and they try to at least stick to it as much as possible. I can respect that at the very least. Like if you come into Texas, be a Texan. Don't be a Californian. Don't be a New Yorker. Be a Texan. That's just what makes sense to me.
you respect it, dude. I'm just happy that you came and joined the team because it's the winning team by
Yeah.
far. Are you a Cowboys fan?
I mean, I'm getting into it. I was actually thinking about going to a Cowboys game this weekend.
So I've
So
only gone to like two in my life. I'm not. I don't like watching sports at all. I know you used to play sports, but
yeah,
like I'm honestly not a sports watcher. I'm a sports player. Like I played tournament paintball for years.
okay.
I won multiple tournaments for paintball, and like I played video game tournaments too when I was young for Halo. Uh, but otherwise, like no, I like to compete myself. I did bull riding when I was younger. I like doing stuff myself. Like I
hmm
really don't like watching anything.
Yeah, I was always that way too. Actually, before I did the Poor Man's Podcast Reacts, a lot of people don't know this, but I had another channel called Pro Rugby Player Reacts, and I was posting on both channels, and I would just watch old like highlight clips of people, because I had never watched sports. So it was good to just sit there and watch highlights, and I was actually getting real motivated. That was the first time in my life I ever consistently watched sports because I used to just play sports. It didn't make sense to
If
watch
you're gonna watch it, it better be for something like that, though. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
It's like if you weren't playing it, you were still getting something else out of it, which
Yeah,
was making content.
yeah,
It's so funny. But no, I want to know, bro. How long have you been in Dallas? You said like 3 or 4 years.
yeah. We came down here 3 years ago, because we just couldn't do another winter, man.
Yeah, and who'd you come down with?
My wife.
Just your wife?
Yeah, my wife came down, and then it just so happened that my dad got a new job down here too. So my mom and my dad actually came down too,
Oh, that's dope,
and they literally live 10 minutes away from me, and it was all by chance.
dude. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
then what about other family? Like, no, like, do you have any cousins or uncles or anything?
Nah, just us, just us.
That is so random,
Yeah.
man. I feel like there's a lot of people that move here though like that because I have a lot of panels of girls, and I swear 9 times out of 10, these girls, the reason why they respond and they come on the show and stuff is because they just moved here in the last
hmm
year or two. They have no friends. friends.
Yeah.
And it's just this is a city where everybody's moving to right now. I don't know if you've seen the stats on it, but they're predicting that we're going to be bigger than Chicago, or we're going to be bigger than like a lot of other big metroplexes over the next few years. I think we're already about to be bigger than the Chicago by the whole metroplex.
I believe that they're building like a Disney World right in Plano.
Yeah, that's crazy that I just saw that the other day too.
Yeah.
I can't wait for World Cup to come. Honestly, I think that's going to be really crazy.
Yeah,
when World
massive.
Cup comes. What kind of sports did you play?
Oh, so I ran track and played football in high school. But because football is one of them sports, who's recruiting in Minnesota? Nobody's recruiting for football in Minnesota. So everybody going to Texas or Florida or California to get football players. So for me, it just didn't make sense for me to try to go to college for football. So I ended up picking up track because a 10.5 is a 10.5 anywhere. Yeah. So I ended up running track in college. I broke like 6 or 7 school records.
Jesus, like all short, like all 100 meters.
Yeah. 7-time All-American. So I got really experienced in track. That was my sport because it's a very individual sport, and what you put into it is what you get out of it. You ain't got to rely on other people, and what you run stands up for itself. So I did track for a while, and then right after track, I realized I didn't want to just give up everything that I was doing to just go bag groceries, bro. You know what I mean? I devoted 15 years of my life to being an athlete. Just because I can't go pro in track, don't mean I just got to go home and bag groceries. So I decided to play rugby, and I made a list of all the people I needed to know in rugby, and I emailed every single one of them. It was like 25 people on that list, and 2 of them got back to me. One of them was a coach in Colorado. I went out to Colorado as soon as I graduated from college, and I played rugby for 3 months, and then I made the USA national rugby team. So yeah. So I play football, I ran track, and I played rugby. Like those.
So like, what was your skill set going, from football and track that made you so perfect for rugby? Was it just speed? Like they need really fast people in rugby?
Yeah, well, it's rugby 7, so it comprises of smaller people. 15s is the one where you see the big, tall dudes. Rugby 7s, you on a soccer field. Oh, my bad. You on a soccer field with only 7 people. So you got a lot of space to wiggle around. You got to be fast. And so, yeah, they needed fast people.
Speed was a big deal.
Yeah, when I was playing, I was the second fastest player in the world behind my teammate who he ran a 10.1 in the 100 meter. I was running a 10.4, 10.5.
So it was just the speed. And then how did that go? How long did you play rugby for?
I played for about a year and a half. And then, bro, literally right after I signed my professional contract, I had a back injury. So I proposed to my now wife, and 3 weeks later, I signed my professional contract. 2 weeks after that, I injured my back. So it was a career-ending injury for me. It took me about 16 months to recover. For a while, I couldn't even walk. So that's when I started YouTube, actually. So during that time period, I was trying to recover. I was still trying to run and do therapy and all that kind of stuff. And I was working at USPS. And while I was working at USPS, I was doing the Pro Rugby Player Reacts videos, and I was doing the Poor Man Podcast videos. And it took me about 6 months of posting consistently every single day before I got any traction on either one of them.
Wow. So when did you stop the rugby one?
I stopped the rugby one probably 6 months after I was doing it because I just got too many copyright infringements and whatnot.
Just from using other people's videos.
Yeah. And like there's actually a video on that channel where what's the dude name? DK Metcalf. I seen DK Metcalf chase that dude down after he intercepted the ball. You remember, have you ever seen that clip?
I can't remember. I've probably seen it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a clip of him just chasing down some dude after he intercepted the ball. And I was like, I think he could run a 10.2 in the 100 meter. And sure enough, 6 months later, he ended up running the open 100 meter at the, I think it was a USA open 100 meter, whatever. But he ran a 10.2. So like I got the video went even higher. I think it's at like 700,000 views.
Because you predicted.
Because I predicted to the T what time he was going to run.
Wow.
Just based off watching him.
Was that your first viral video?
Yeah, that was that was the one that I would say did the best. But then it got flagged by copyright. NFL wasn't fucking with me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So how many subs did you get off that first blow up?
I don't really remember, but I think that channel has about 16,000. But I only posted on it for about 6 months before I stopped.
That's crazy. And then, so what was your first viral moment with the Poor Man's Podcast?
It's funny because I actually remember this day specifically. I had to go to work the next day, so I had this day off, and I seen a video on Kevin Samuels dropped a video, and I wanted to say something about it because I was just covering different topics. I didn't really know what to cover, so I was just covering different topics. But then I ran into Kevin Samuels, and I didn't want to wake up that day, but I was like, I have to do this video now because, bro, like the time between like inspiration and production is small. Like if you want to be able to put that passion and that emotion into what you're doing, you can't fill that time up with anything else. Once you get that inspiration, you got to get up and produce because that's when you talk so they can feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like people know the feeling. When you go to a club, everybody knows the best part of the song because they can feel it. You know what I'm saying? They feel the emotion in it. So I'm a big advocate for as soon as you get the inspiration, try to produce. So I ended up getting up that day and I made the video, and that was the video that made me pop off. So I think that video did like 30,000 views in the first 5 days. And I was like, well, I guess I know my niche.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I don't create what I want to create necessarily. I try to hide the medicine in the candy. So I have to create what's entertaining, but I have to also cater my message to, well, not cater my message, but I have an audience. You know what I mean? So I have a responsibility to that audience. And if my audience says this is what they want to see, I have to make more of that content.
Yeah.
So when I seen the Kevin Samuels video did good, I started doing more kind of red pill stuff and just giving my opinion on things that I observed. Being a professional athlete, traveling the world, seeing how women respond when you're a Division I athlete, seeing how they respond to guys that are not necessarily the best for them. And I just went off observations and things that I knew and a lot of the research that I did. So that's how I kind of got started and how I blew up.
That is probably one of the coolest stories though.
Yeah,
and I really, really resonate though with like the part where you said you had inspired and then you just had to go make it.
Yeah.
And that's like me, like all throughout my day. Like whenever I'm writing anything, like I started doing my emergent value series, which is where I give value to the people and I tell them about credit or different tricks I've learned over the last decade to like get to where I'm at now. And it's crazy how you're right about that inspiration though. Like sometimes it hits me in the shower and like I got to get out really quick and put it in my notes, or like I have to voice memo and like I have to do all these different things. And I wish I could just do what you just said. Like I really want to have a little at home setup just so when I get inspired next time, just rant, because sometimes that like from the heart feeling or like
you feel it, bro. When you sit in the shower, you can literally feel the emotion. You feel the passion in what you're saying or what you're thinking.
It's like a purpose. It feels like a purpose given to you, and you're meant to say this.
Yeah, and you're supposed to do it then, because if you don't do it then you're just mimicking the emotion. When you wait a day, you have the same thought, but it doesn't really have that same energy to it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, so you're mind blowing me right now.
Yeah, you gotta move then. You gotta get quick. That's why I really got the small setup. That's why I like what I'm doing and where I'm at. Because anytime I feel inspiration, I can just get up, put the video together, say what I gotta say, and there you go.
That's so incredible though. I feel like you just taught me something that's like been the missing piece of what I've been doing for so long. And like if I just started trying to do that, I might find that that's where my passion truly comes out. Because you're right, you're just mimicking
the emotion. Like, if you wait too long, you're mimicking. Yeah. I kind of started to figure that out, and I was wondering what exactly made that video do well, and what was the formula I could use to make more content that way. And so I think what people like about my content is my passion bleeds through the camera.
It does.
Yeah. So when I'm making the content, especially the stuff that I'm passionate about, people can feel it through the camera. And I think that has a huge effect on my growth and my audience.
Man, I've been so crazy. Like we're doing this pre-recorded, and I was telling you about how doing live is so stressful and so different and so hard. And I feel like you're just opening me up to the epiphany of this other side of YouTube, or this other side of creativity that I might resonate more with.
Yeah,
that might actually work better because I'll actually get to be passionate. Because there's nothing worse than writing that stuff down in my notes and then doing my show the next day, and I'm having to look at that note and remember, like, because it's only a few words of whatever I thought of. And it's like, okay, remember you kind of ranted off in your brain for like 3 minutes on this. Try to remember that's 3 minutes worth of things.
And it's almost impossible every time.
It is.
Yeah. And so now you're like stumbling over your words. It doesn't seem as fluent. It doesn't seem as creative. It's just you're mimicking. Yeah.
Man, I cannot believe that you just taught me that. I feel like my channel is going to be different now just because you taught me that. So like, what's your personal life like, man? Like, what do you do outside of YouTube and stuff like that? Do you just chill? You just spend time with your wife?
Yeah, man, I'm a big guy. I'm a big workout guy. So I like to exercise. I think it's one of the most important things you can do. whether it be for health or whether it be for vanity. It's just important to take care of yourself. So I like to exercise. I've actually started picking up the piano. I've been teaching myself from YouTube videos how to play the piano just because I need new challenges in my life.
That is
like
so
if I don't
cool.
have something that's going to challenge me, I stop evolving. And so I have to keep challenging myself. So even though it's frustrating sometimes, I enjoy it because it's a new challenge. It's something new for me. So right now I just work out. I play the piano. I go to the club whenever I want to. But you can't let that take. Hey, that'll get you. So you got to be careful. Yeah, that'll get you. So
Well,
you got to
yeah,
be careful.
I promote for Sporting Club in Dallas, so we go every Friday with the ladies after the show, so we get like our free table and stuff. And yeah, it's I'd like to go till about 12, and I leave and I go
get
home.
Up out of there, yeah, because now next thing you know, that's that space though in between inspiration and productivity where you start filling it with hoes and alcohol and drugs. That's where you fall off because everybody, once they get successful in any kind of thing they're doing, if you only doing it for the money, there's a part where you hit the fork in the road where you have enough money to indulge in everything that's going to destroy you, or you can choose your audience, the people who care about you, the people who tune in, who use their heart, like their time, their free time to listen to what you have to say. So there's always that fork in the road where you have to decide, are you going to start doing the drugs and drinking too much and fucking the women, or are you going to focus on what you're supposed to be doing? And it does take discipline because now you have the time and the money to ruin yourself. So you see a lot of people end up ruining themselves. Rappers, entertainers, YouTubers, you name it. This is what it is.
Your vices will destroy you. See, luckily, like I like to teach people on my channel. Like I was the worst person in my past. Like I was that guy throwing $10,000 at ecstasy at the strip club on a Friday. Like I was like that crazy motherfucker. So it's like when people get excited about doing things or like stuff, it's just like, yeah, I did that like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it was fun back then, but like, I'm good now. And it's like,
well, that's always a part of it too. Like if you look at interviews with a lot of YouTubers that run into a lot of money that they never had, even the ones that are productive, you'll hear a time in their lives where they were just like, I went and blew money. I went and did this. I went and did that. But sometimes they bring it back soon enough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they refocus soon enough. Sometimes it just takes them away and they get addicted and they can never get out of it. So it's good that you eventually just grew out of it.
Yeah, I actually don't like success a lot because I think it is dangerous, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely dangerous. Like I would be happy with my channel and just with everything I'm doing if I always do a little bit better than normal. Like I'm a farmer. I'm planning. Like I just want to get a really nice farmhouse and have my farm, and that's all I care about.
Well, I mean, let's just be completely honest. If you have $50 million, what do you have to do to now pleasure yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like a $50 million person ain't happy with just a steak no more.
Yeah.
A $50 million ain't happy with just some regular coochie. Now they over here at sex clubs and doing the. You know what I'm saying? So it takes you away from your purpose. Like I don't need $50 million. I want a family. Give me a slight 5 or 10. Somebody offered me 10,000 or $10 million. I'm selling out. The ThePoorMansPodcast is coming in. So no, but yeah, I don't need like the whole thing. I don't want to devote my whole life to something so much so that I miss out on my children growing up. So those are people though. There are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the people that are willing to devote their entire lives to what they're doing, and that's all they want to do to prove whatever they have to prove or to make a lot of money. But I just want to have a decent amount of money, be comfortable, and be able to watch my kids grow up.
Yeah, are you the type where like when you have money, you're more about buying your time back, or are you more about building businesses and trying to work 12 hours a day?
Well, I'm not going to build the business unless it's self-sustaining. So I can do real estate and put a management company in place so that they can do that for me. I drive a $6,000 car. This necklace here is fake. I don't buy real jewelry. It's all fake. I'm not going to. I'm not buying real jewelry. Like, let's just.
Bro, I own a jewelry store, and like I tell people all the time, just get the moissanite, or just do this, or just get this fake stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I try to like help people all the time save thousands of dollars. That's the only reason why I'm in business sometimes, because I help people save so much. It's like, bro, that's stupid. Like,
actually used to like that's part of what I did to get through college. I would sell Rolex replicas. Not so much on a scale where I would ever be a target by the government. Like I would
you can only get 1 or 2 at a time, or else you can get in big trouble if you have 2 or more.
I mean, I would probably sell like 4 a week. I would get them for about $100. I would sell them for about $400. Usually to guys that were older, rich white dudes. They don't want the diamonds on there. They just want something that replicates what they own. They'll put the ones that they have in a safe, and then they'll use that one for everyday work. So like the clasp doesn't get like scratched up when they're typing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And when I did that and I seen all those rich people buying fake jewelry, when I worked with rappers and they wanted all the shiny stuff and they were in their music videos showing them off, but I knew they were fake because I'm the one that sold it to you. That's when I kind of stopped. And I'm not going to name drop nobody because I was in California at this specific time when I met this rapper, but they know who they are if they do see this interview, which they might not. But yeah, it's a lot of fake jewelry, even in the rap industry. Really, what they do is they want to promote the fake. They want to sell the fake jewelry. They promote it so that people who think that they have money go and actually buy the real stuff,
and then they're broke after.
Yeah, and then they're broke. Yeah, that's what happens.
It's a whole trap to keep y'all in the system.
Yeah, that's all it is. You start making, and then they're making payments on it. They trying to act like they just go in there with a wad of cash, where really they putting down payments on it like a payment plan. Yeah. So it is what it is. Yeah, they be getting the jewelry repoed and shit.
Or they'll go exchange it for something else, and you think they're buying another thing, but they're just exchanging. Yeah. But like the reason why I was asking, about like the buying your time back things, because like me personally, like I have my daughter 50-50, and like whenever I have my time, it's like I'm not working, like I'm spending my time with her, or I'm just doing family stuff, like just with me, my girl, and her, or whatever. Are you the type where you kind of do you think it's okay for a dad to spend a lot of time with their kids? There's a lot of people in like the red pill space and like the not really track cons, but more in the red pill space where they're like, dads shouldn't be around their kids, like kind of like the passport bros movement, like let's have a kid in Colombia and you can go back every 3 months and they'll be fine. Like what's your views on like how much a father should kind of be in their kid's life, you think?
I just think that as long as the father's doing something inspirational, it's good. Like even when you go back to industrial or pre-industrial America, the father and the family were all at home. They were working on farms. Yeah. And I think that actually played a big part because the women, they were more appreciative of their husbands because they looked out into the field and seen the work that their husband was doing, manual labor, out there sweating, getting his vitamin D, being a healthy testosterone filled man. So I think it showed more appreciation to what they were doing. So, I mean, I think as long as you're doing something inspirational, as long as you're going out there and creating a story, you're creating your character, you're building yourself, and you have stories to tell your kids and lessons to teach your kids through what you've done, you being a good dad, bro. I don't think that you need to disappear for 3 months.
That's just a huge opinion, bro, on there, and it kind of it just bothers me because I love Tate actually for a lot of things. Like I'm good friends with like Sterling Cooper, like I'm good friends with a lot of those.
No, I ran into Cooper at the SOS the Saucecast. He's coolest.
Yeah,
he's cool.
They're all super cool. It's just the one thing where like I'm just against is just I just think you should be around your kids more. Like that's the one thing I'm kind of against is just that one.
Well, now it seems more important than ever because either you gonna influence them or TikTok is.
That's the way I see it too. Yeah, and like I mean, you can be on to your wife or whoever and be like, you better not let them use the phone and stuff. But when you're gone, like shit happens.
The masculine presence is different.
Yeah,
kids know.
And I want to be able to protect her. I want to be able to protect my family.
Yeah, and kids know as they're growing up how to respond to mom versus how to respond to dad. You'll see clips of this all over the internet. Dad walks in, snaps his fingers, points. The kid knows what to do. It's a masculine presence. It's innate. It's naturally built into us. So you being around is definitely going to help that, in my opinion. Yeah. It's like because it's too hectic out here right now. It's too much information for little girls to see, for you to not be around. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let my daughter have any type of technology until like 18, probably.
Yeah, but do you worry about that though?
No, I'm not.
She's gonna have a part of her life where she's disconnected from what it means to be social currently.
So when I was like 13, 14, I got pulled out of school because I was really badly bullied in high school because I didn't go through puberty when all my friends did. Like I was a late bloomer, like crazy. I didn't go through puberty when I was like 16. And when everybody went through puberty and I didn't, in PE class like that, it was sophomore year, it was just hell. Like I left probably 2 or 3 months into the school year because it was just multiple fights and all like when we went to the office, it was always my fault. My parents were like, just take him out because it's not worth. Obviously, he's the smaller kid, and you're still blaming him. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so they pulled me out. I ended up graduating early because of it. But I saw what homeschool kids were like when I did that because I went to a little school that was like for other homeschool kids to go to. And you're 1,000% right. It makes them antisocial. It kind of makes them weird.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want any of that. But the thing is, since I saw that, I know how to make sure my daughter's not going to end up like that. Okay. But the big thing is either private school or homeschooling. Like you can save them if you keep them out of public school because if they go to public
even
school,
private schooling there's a lot of bullying in private school too.
I would do private school if the private school told me that none of the other kids have phones there, none of the other kids are using social media there. That's the only way. Otherwise it's probably homeschool because I just don't want her to be influenced by other kids that have social media at all.
Yeah, well the thing is it's gonna have to be regulated. Like at some point we're gonna have to see social media for what it is, the new drug, and we're gonna have to start. The people who are going to do the best in the future are people that are going to be able to manage their time and understand when to use social media as a tool for learning and when to turn it off because you're not learning anything anymore.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the most successful people, because I look at the youth nowadays and I see a lot of creativity. I see them making memes. I see them doing all these like switches with the TikTok things, all these different angles. So they're crazy creative, but the ones that are going to, the gap is going to be further, because some people are using it as a crutch and are not using it as a tool, and some kids are just using it as a tool, and those kids that's using it as a tool, they're going to go way further. So like that's kind of always been, because I've thought about how I'm going to go about social media with my kids too. That's always been my like my problem with completely taking it away from them, because I'm like, well, then how much is that going to affect their ability to
be creative?
Yeah, in the future, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be digital, regardless of if we want it or not.
I just probably won't do a phone. I'll be okay with an iPad at a certain point, and I'll let them use social medias on the iPad, but it's going to be a restrictive 15-30 minute thing, kind of like other things that you have to restrict, and then it's going to be fully like, I'm so technologically aware that I'm going to fully be having everything fully screened, like probably full videos of every time they're on it and stuff. Because I'm really crazy about that shit. I'm really crazy, because all it takes is you viewing one thing, and it can mess you up for life.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm going to instill insane values into my kids. I'm gonna have a creed and a code for which my family abides by. You don't do certain things because your last name is Clark, and you do certain things because your last name is Clark. And so I'm gonna hope that my teaching them that from early ages is gonna be able to transpire into the rest of their lives, because I think that's gonna be the best weapon. Having sitting down at dinner and having the family sit at dinner, you talking to them talking to you, them understanding how much you work for the family, them understanding your mindset, them being able to see you're doing inspirational things, and them wanting to be like you because of it.
Yep.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just teach like a strong family code. I want my kids to have friends that are my friends' sons, to be around them, so that we could build this code and community together, so that when these outside ideas come in, we're stronger and closer, committed to each other, because once your son has that commitment with another kid, it's going to be stronger. Like, I have a group of friends now, and almost all of us make over, well, it's 4 of us in my main group of friends that we've been friends since we were young, and all of us make over $100,000 a year. So it's either by chance 4 guys who just so happen to be capable of making over $100,000 a year just met each other, or it's that we've built some kind of culture within our group where we expect excellence. And I think it's the second thing. So I think if you build that with your kids too, and have other kids that have like-minded parents and ideas and traditions, it'll help balance some of that out a little bit.
Yeah. So what I like to say is it's 60% genetic predicts who you'll be, 30% peer group, and 10% parents.
Yeah.
And like that 30% peer group is the big thing. The way I kind of predict it is like, I'm a really big farmer. I know how to grow a lot of foods and stuff. And like, if I get to the point where I want, I'm basically going to have a damn commune at some point. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'm trying to be a cult leader or anything, but like I'll probably end up with a commune, and I hope it's all the people that are the same type of minded people as me. We're all raising our kids together, and they're all the same, in that aspect, and they're just not gonna be like those other kids in public school. And shit, hopefully.
Because and I think the more people you have around you with like-minded ideas and traditions, the more it's going to help fight some of that off. Like, you look at other cultures and you'll see 20 people living in the same house. So you see 20,
India.
Literally 20. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know, like, most people don't actually know that, so they're going to think I'm exaggerating. That's why I was going to kind of dial it back. But you'll see 20 people living in the same house, aunts, uncles, just taking care of one house. They're able to build businesses because they're not just wasting their money on disposable rent. You know what I mean? They're not just wasting their money just giving their rent away to
live like the Jones. Basically.
Yeah, to live in a one bedroom apartment. How you gonna have a family when you living in a 1-bedroom apartment? What kind of traditions, what kind of commitment are you gonna have to your community if you're only living in a 1-bedroom apartment? You find you're more committed to your community when you have a house and you have a family and you have people that you have to live for. You're more committed towards caring about your society when you have kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes you go, okay, well, what are we going to vote for this year? Because I have to make sure this kid grows up in where they have a chance.
You got skin in the game.
So yeah, you get skin in the game. So yeah, I think having family around, man, and just having that culture tradition, it has to be the future, because everybody being separated, it's just making it worse. It's already hard enough to live because everything is becoming more expensive, but now people also want to try to do it by themselves, which is crazy.
No.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. So do you know why like my channel is called Purple Pill?
No, but isn't purple pill like people who are in relationships?
Yeah, AMS's definition is like if you're a red pilled person that chooses to still be in a relationship, because apparently you must be crazy to still want to be in a relationship when
Yeah,
you're red pill.
yeah,
And yeah, I love his definition, but nobody ever knows that, man. Like I always have to explain to everyone, no, I'm not in between red and blue.
yeah,
No, I'm not blue pill at all. Like my relationship, none of that's like any of those things. It's
yeah.
like
It's basically a
super
red pill
traditional.
guy that is in a relationship, like
Yeah.
that believes in like relationships and family and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I have a very very strong like belief behind it, I guess you could say. But who's your favorite YouTuber, bro?
Right now, honestly, I don't really not on YouTube unless I'm making content, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like
That's
What If
dope though.
Autist just to shout some people out. I like MTR.
I love MTR too.
Araco TV he's man, that man is doing numbers. He's got something that right now he's changed the game completely. Right now everybody's copying Araco TV's formula.
I've never even seen him
Yeah,
before.
for a while I was the most influential person in the space, but Araco, he's at like 920,000 subscribers, bro. The dude is massive,
I didn't
but
check him out.
he's from Spain. So like when you see like men and women get humbled or whatever, he was the one that originally started like the humbled titles and the when tough men or when fake tough men get exposed and instantly regrets, like a lot of those titles, he was the first one to make some of those titles up. So
Damn.
yeah, so I like Steph is cold. I like Steph is
I like
cold, bro.
Steph is
I use a
Cold.
lot of his edits in my videos. Shout out to Steph is cold, bro. You are hilarious, bro.
I love him too.
I,
You
at
gotta
the-
get him up to Dallas soon, bro.
yeah. I
think he's
like
in Austin.
for a while, you know, I agree with some of the ideas. I like Fresh and Fit. Like I agree with some of the ideas. You know, I don't really. I think that they kind of went off a little bit when they started to do things that's going to affect their brand forever, like putting on the
Yeah,
Ku Klux Klan
yeah,
thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's going to affect your brand forever. So at that point, I'm like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And like regardless of what point you're trying to make, when you go onto TV or when you try to do anything important in your life, they have a video of you in a Klan outfit. It's going to be really hard for you to survive that. But so I like Fresh and Fit. I like their content. I use a lot of their clips. But yeah, I think like those are the biggest ones right now. But like in terms of information, What If Altus is amazing. Oh, and Orlando Minor. Orlando Minor, he's a real estate guy, like a seven-figure real estate guy. He helped me with my first quadruplex in Fort Worth. So I watch a lot of his stuff to just learn about real estate. Super informative, super straight to the point.
Where's he from?
I think he's somewhere in the Midwest. I can't really remember. I've never met him in person, but we talk a lot. Like in terms of, he'll call me every other week to just talk about real estate and give me an update on what's doing well, what's not doing well, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing.
That's
So,
super dope.
yeah,
Though, that you have a connection like that.
Yeah, and
YouTube gets you in handshakes with all types of.
Well,
cool
yeah,
people.
and he's willing to help people. Like he has a course in which he actually hands-on helps people get into real estate. So
that's what bothers me a lot about a lot of these courses or a lot of these coaches and stuff. If nothing's hands-on, I do a mentorship, but I only do a few people at a time, and
yeah,
it's so I can be hands-on with them.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not trying to sit there. And
Well,
do
yeah, you
anything like
you
that.
make a little less money when you actually want to devote to it. Versus
Yeah,
if
when you
just
want to help,
hella-
when you actually want to help people.
yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Who's your favorite influencer other than YouTuber? Is there like an influencer that you look up to a lot?
I wouldn't say look up to, because I try to keep my own ideas. Even when like, and this was a big thing with like Kevin Samuels back in the day, is people would be like, oh, blah blah blah, because like the rhetoric is similar.
Yeah,
but I couldn't really watch other YouTubers because I wanted to have my own ideas. And if I kept watching other YouTubers, I would only be able to mimic their ideas instead of create my own. So I don't really like in terms of.
It's good to not watch other creators. That's what I've been doing the last couple of months, and you're right. I feel so fresh.
Yeah, but in terms of influencers, I think Tate is. I mean, it's Tate, right? I agree with I'd say 99% of what Tate says.
Same here, yeah.
And even if you don't agree, you can't act like it's not your masculine imperative to. You know what I mean? Like
1,000%.
Yeah, like people will be like,
1,000%.
okay, I don't want to sleep with a bunch of women. And I understand that because you have discipline and when you have morality, it does teach you that you don't want to treat your girlfriend bad. But there's a reason you watch porn. Mm-hmm. It's because you do like diversity in women. So it is your natural imperative, even if you don't like how he's saying it. So yeah, I like Andrew Tate. I like Charleston White. I don't know if you've ever heard of Charleston White.
I love Charleston, yeah.
Yeah, I like Charleston White.
He's a little bit crazy.
He's out in Fort Worth. So yeah,
No way.
he's from Fort Worth, and you know, Say Cheese is out there too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like literally when he does work with children in the real world, where he actually goes out and helps people's kids and people who have help bury people who died in the community and do all this stuff. That's all in Fort Worth.
I had no idea that was in Fort Worth.
Yeah, he does. He goes to a restaurant that's literally 5 minutes away from my house. I haven't met him yet, but right now he's one of my favorite. I like FYBJ Main. Do your homework on FYBJ.
I don't know who that is either.
Yeah, he always it hit different. But yeah, I think right now those are my three in terms of what I watch. But I do try to be very cautious with allowing their rhetoric to just flow into what I'm saying, because I want to be my own.
You gotta be authentic.
Yeah, you gotta be your own person. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm definitely more myself now because I stopped watching so many other people. But
Yeah.
it's like I kind of had to watch a lot of other people to fully get myself up to date on evolutionary psychology. Like I watched a lot of Rollo and Michael Sartain and certain people that are the best at evolutionary psychology because I wanted to learn what was the best books to read.
Mhm.
Like I just finished like my 12th one the other day, and like I added 2 more to my list this fucking week to do. But like I love just knowing what's the best info for the evolutionary psychology stuff,
Yeah.
so I can debate them on it, and so I can also, because like my big view is that people cherry pick really hard or just choose what they want. Like it's based off your own agenda.
Yeah.
Like if
yeah.
you're married, you're going to preach married rhetoric.
Yeah.
And like I'm going to preach what's my rhetoric because of my lifestyle. And I want guys that are in my situation to be able to relate to my type of stuff because there's other men out there that might have gone through what I've gone through, you know? And so like I think a lot of people are bothered by that though, because I'll like say, well, no, if you think about it, then it should be seen this way, or like, because I defend the women a lot sometimes, and everybody hates that in the red pill
Well,
space.
the truth
but
of
you're
the
not supposed
matter
to
is
do
there's a
that.
lot of weak men that don't have any vitamin D. They don't got no purpose. They just want to sit around and eat chips, beat their meat, and play video games.
Yeah,
So
I blame
that's-
both people. I blame women for not keeping their legs closed because I think it would make men better if they did that.
Yeah.
Like Chad and Tyrone wouldn't be able to sit on the couch anymore.
Yeah.
If all women like kept their legs closed. So
Mhm.
that's one thing that could happen. But then on the guy's side, it's like you have to be better.
Yeah.
Because I see these women try to date, and I coach some women in dating. I go out, like, and you can clearly see why the girls, even though they know I have a girlfriend, are choosing me over those other guys.
Yeah.
Because they're dorks.
Yeah, and they're not
Like,
doing their yeah,
and the way they're acting and the way they are and just everything about them. It's
Yeah.
just like I don't blame the women.
Well, they lack social skills.
Yes, that's all it is.
They
It's
lack social
calibration.
skills, and they lack the ability to have confidence because they've never done anything.
Mm.
So when you do things and you get good at things and you devote yourself to things, it's easier to be confident. And some of these guys ain't did nothing. So it's really hard for them to go into a conversation with a woman and have something interesting to talk about and to be confident in those interactions because they don't have any social skills. There's this new thing, bro, where everybody's talking about social anxiety, and it's because they've never done it. Like social skills are a skill.
How is it the thing?
Yeah, like social skills are a skill. When you go to talk to a random woman, you're supposed to be nervous. Before you get on a podcast, you're supposed to be nervous.
Yeah.
But it's to overcome that nervousness and get better at it so that you can develop the skills necessary. A lot of dudes, they pussy out, bro. They pussy out early. They say, "Oh, she's gonna judge me," or blah blah blah. So what, bro? Like that's just that. It
Don't
comes
practice on the uglies then, and then
It's
go to the hot
XP.
girl.
It's XP, bro. All you got to do is farm XP. You got to
So
keep having the
XP.
conversations, keep building your character, building the XP. You'll be all right, bro. Like it's just women.
That's the way I see it too. Literally, is like the XP bar, bro.
Yeah.
It's just y'all are level 20s, and I'm a 60. Like y'all are
Yeah.
never gonna keep up with me if you stay down there and you don't. It's all social calibration. Like so, with my mentorship, a lot of people hate this, but like I teach guys to go to restaurants to get socially calibrated with women,
Mhm.
to go and talk to them. You know, like go to certain ones because they're more cool and they might be. I also teach pre-selection, like how to be friends with women.
Yeah.
That's like my whole game. Like as you can see, I'm not a big muscle dude or anything.
Yeah.
But I've always done good with women. It's just because I have a lot of women that are my friends.
Yeah, you and that's the thing. You don't really have to be any particular type of guy. I know a couple dudes that don't look like all that, but they could pull. You know what I'm saying? It's about your demeanor. You gotta slow it down. You gotta talk to him. You know, you gotta talk to him. You gotta talk that shit, bro. Like you gotta slow it down. You can't be so nervous. Your heart's supposed to be beating, but you gotta try to tone it down. Take your time and talk to them like they're humans because that's all they are. And as soon as you get clever with them, they start to feel you. That's all it is. Women have this little gray spot in their brain that they're not even aware of. That once you learn as a man how to get into, it's a wrap.
It's
so that's
game
all you gotta
over.
do is learn that. Yeah.
Yeah. How's politics looking for you, man? Like, who looks good to you? Like, do you watch politics at all?
I'm a little bit in tune to it, bro. But I ain't gonna lie to you.
All the way up.
I ain't gonna lie to. I think the Vivek what's his name? Vivek.
I haven't really been watching, so I'm gonna be way behind you.
I want to say he Indian, or he's a second generation or first generation immigrant where his parents came from India. So his name is like
that guy.
Yeah,
I love that guy too.
I like him,
his
bro.
Clips have been so good.
Yeah, because he's going out, he's talking to the people in an authentic way. That people are tired of that scripted bullshit, bro. We want to hear you talk that real. We want to hear you say something that we can feel. We want to hear you talk against the corporations that we're just pouring billions of dollars into the Ukraine so that BlackRock can go in and buy up the land because part of the deal with the Ukraine is we're gonna give them money, but then they have to sell us land, and they have some of the best farmland in the world.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is BlackRock has already bought up 28% of the farmland that they're giving us. And I don't want to get all the way into all that, but he's speaking out about things that other people aren't willing to. And for me personally, right now, that's what we need.
That's a big deal.
He's young. He understands our generation. I believe if you 80 years old, you was born before niggas could even drink in the water fountain with white people. You don't need to be making rules when we got iPhones, bro. Like you just don't. You're not even. And then the people, not the president, but some of these people have been in office for 40, 30, 40 years. And you've been rich for 30, 40 years of your life. You're not going to have the normal experience, bro. You don't know what people going through in the real world. So you just sitting there making rules based off who's giving you the most money.
Yep.
So, I mean, right now for politics, I'd have to say, I think his name is Vivek I watched the first Republican debate thing.
Yeah.
I did I liked Vivek. And surprisingly enough, I thought the girl did well too. I forget her name. She did well, but she just wasn't. She was feminine. Like she wasn't aggressive enough. She wasn't willing to step in when the conversation was getting hot. So she'd have to be more bold with what she's doing and what she's saying. But yeah, there's a few people. I think Vivek though is at the top for me right now, personally.
His clips definitely put him to the top for me too,
Yeah.
honestly. And like I said, I didn't even watch the debate, but just those clips alone made me like become a huge fan of him. How do you think influencers are going to be political in the future?
I think some will.
You think some will?
Yeah, I think influencers are the most influential people on the planet right now. I'd like to see. I don't know if you would consider him an influencer, but I'd like to see Tucker Carlson run for office. I hear a lot of things that he say, and I like a lot of the things he says, and I think that he has his own money now, so he doesn't need to become a millionaire from politics. Because a lot of these politicians, how do you make money as a politician? The president only makes about $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
How are you making millions of dollars? How is Hillary Clinton worth $50 million? These are the questions you got to start asking. So, yeah, I think him having his own money, him having his own ideas, he seems like he can't be bought and sold, and I think that that's what we need right now. We need somebody that's going to bring people together because right now we're too separated. No. So I think that influencers will get into politics if, some of them will.
Maybe not this election. I just mean like over the next decade.
Yeah, probably. I could see like a Ben Shapiro, a Tucker Carlson, hopefully. PBD. Shout out to PBD.
Yeah.
We was just talking about him earlier. I like PBD, man. I watch his show almost every day. I guess that's another podcaster I would say I watch. I like to hear him for the news. Like he's one of the news guys for me.
Yeah, he surprises me over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy about him to me. It's just he's full of so many quotes.
Yeah, he's like, and he always reinvents himself. Mm. He's not afraid to push the production. When I went to the Saucecast, they bought a bank, and there are 2 stories where they work on things that I do on my cell phone. Oh, shoot. My bad.
You're good.
But there are 2 stories of things.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, there are 2 stories of people that are doing things that I do on my cell phone. So it's like he's not afraid to push the envelope and to go that step further in production and do what's necessary to make good quality content.
Bro. And then not go too far at the same time too.
Yeah, I think he's really balanced. I think he brings on people on his show that he disagrees with, and he's willing to have cordial conversations with them about the things that he believes. And I can respect that because there's 2 people right now, the left and the right, and they're screaming at each other from other sides. And all they're doing is getting propagated by the ideas that they're getting fed on social media, which are ideas that they already agree with. So they're just getting told that they're right instead of meeting in the middle and having conversations and figuring out what's right and what's wrong and getting new ideas. So
1000%.
I really like PBD. So yeah, I could see influencers getting into politics eventually, especially within the next decade, with influencers becoming more and more popular, more and more people coming onto platforms like YouTube and just being on the internet. Yeah, I could see it.
Everybody was talking about Tucker Carlson too. Like, is he going to do something politically?
Yeah, that was one of the first guys that I think that I would love to see him run for office or something like that, governor, something. Do something. Yeah.
I've been debating with Pearl a lot on Twitter. She's kind of we were so cool. She was one of the first people who came on my channel and blew me up. But I guess we're kind of frenemies right now or something, and we've been having a lot of beefs. And one of my big beefs with her is, she keeps pushing like men or women shouldn't vote, and I get that, like it's funny and it's hyperbolic and it's great for clicks. But I just think it's impossible that we're ever going to remove the vote from women. And like my big thing is I just want more men to vote, because there's a 3.5% difference between the men and the women vote in America, which is 9 million people.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm pushing for men need to vote more.
Yeah.
So can we get 9 million more men to sign up to vote, or are we going to repeal voting?
See,
what do you think about that?
I don't think we're going to ever repeal voting. I get her conversation. If you have less stake in the game, if you're not willing to go to war, you should have less say in what the fuck we're doing that might send people to war. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So like, I understand the conversation, and that was originally why women weren't given the right to vote, because they didn't have to register for the draft. And a lot of women didn't want the right to vote because they didn't have, or because they didn't want to have to register for the draft. So really that's where it stems from. So I get her, but we're not going back to that. Let's just be completely honest. And I don't necessarily think we need to, but the biggest problem is I don't see men just don't care anymore, bro. We need our government to do something that tells us that we should be invested. There are less guys with families than ever. So like we were talking earlier, they're going to be less likely to care about the future of the country. Like you put a corpse in front of us, a puppet that can hardly put together a coherent sentence, and you want us to believe that he's negotiating foreign trade? Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, so there's a lot of guys that just kind of gave up on the politics altogether, because what we're doing is showing men that there's somebody behind the scenes whom we can't seem to controlling the narrative in our country, because it's more obvious than ever before. Biden ain't doing it. Yeah. So, I think it's going to be an uphill battle right now, trying to get men to care about voting when they don't have families or don't see the government as a viable entity that even cares about the people at all.
No skin in the game. You're right. Yeah. I mean, if we could just inspire 9 million guys. That's all we got to do. 9 million dudes to get some more.
Yeah, but I do think it is important, though. I do think it is important, and I think it's important for people to start holding politicians accountable for what they're doing, how rich they're getting, for some of the policies that they put in place, because I don't think that we're doing that right now.
Honestly, this bothers a lot of people when I bring this up, but I'm very ageist.
Yeah,
I'm very against the older men right now, because to me they got us in the situation. Even the older guys of like the red pill space, or the older guys of manosphere, just older guys in general over 45, 50, like, to me, I feel like they're just plundering the younger generation of men. Like my father, he did great because he put all of his money into his 401k. He never bought nice cars, and he saved everything. And even my father that didn't, like my stepfather wasn't a savings man, but he still has $1 million in his 401k right now.
Yeah.
Because he made 6 figures and he did everything correctly. Like he never lived above his means, kind of. And like, I just see, if those guys are the same ages as my father and they're having to do all this grift and shit just survive or whatever right now, you fucked up somewhere early on, and now you need to plunder our generation, when in reality, we should be fighting those older generations, saying, why is the laws like this? Like, why is everything screwed like this? Like, y'all had all this opportunity over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, well,
and nobody ever did anything. It's taken our younger generation to be like, yo, stop it.
Well, you have to realize, when women got the right to vote, the people who were willing to give away free things started to get more influence. So you became incentivized in order to get the female vote to give things away, because regardless of what women say, whether it be a man or the government, women like to be provided for. So right now they're depending on more of the government to provide for them, but then that incentivizes some of the leaders to pander to more feminine ideas, like giving away free things. Essentially,
we made it a gynocentric society.
Yeah,
where
definitely.
Like it's completely taken over.
Because not only do the politicians want the female vote, which are going to always vote for things that are going to be in their favor for the most part.
Too.
Yeah, but the corporations want to tap into that 65% of consumer debt that women own. So you got a bunch of people lying to women, because when you want to get a girl,
you lie.
You lie. That's what I'm saying. So you understand what I'm saying, bro? Like you pull it.
You lie, women buy.
Yeah, you lie, women buy. Yeah. So that's what's happening, bro. These people out here lying because they want to get that female vote, and it's gotten super corrupted. And there was a party for 70 years where things were fine because we built off the backs of the people who were working hard after World War II. But then we went, let's just have free sex. Sex doesn't matter. Family doesn't matter. Feminism is in. Men are out. Fuck all the men. let them go die in a ditch, and now we're gonna pay for it. Weak men build hard times, and right now we about to experience them hard ass times. It's coming. Yeah, so.
Everybody makes fun of me for this, but I don't really think the pendulum's going to swing back. But there's definitely going to be some men to stand up to try to stop it.
Oh no, it's going to swing back, and it's going to swing back hard. Because I remember in high school when I was just shit. I think I was in like the 11th grade or 10th grade, and I was for gay rights, bro. But then I remember people was telling me, like the religious people at the time, they was like, if we do this, it's going to be a slippery slope. I remember Barack Obama passed the, whatever it was,
the
that means you could be
I
gay.
think.
Yeah, gay marriage. Boom, in 10 years, we talking about people identify as a horse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like,
that quick.
Good golly, yeah. So the pendulum swung because at first they was trying to put religions in the school. And that was the boundary for me. That was when I was more left. But now when you start talking about taking religion out of schools and putting transgenders in the schools, now I'm back to the right. You feel me? So I'm more of a counterculture. I'm gonna go against the pendulum, and the pendulum always swings. And really, what scares me is what I see growing in men. Like you see more men becoming like, when you go on social media, you see the comments of like more guys being very, very like brutal to women, bro. Like more guys that just don't care. They don't care about what happens to women. They have less invested into society. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when you get a society full of men that don't have women, because the motivation for men to create and be who we need to be productive is the ability to have a woman. If you tell a man he can't have a family, he feels no need to be productive. If I'm a single man, you give me a pizza, a TV, and a couch, I'm good. All that other shit in the house is because my wife fills that up with shit that she buys for our family to make us more comfortable. So if you got a lot of guys that's living like that, they feel like all I got to do is play video games. I'm happy with that. And I think the porn, the cheap bullshit food, the lack of vitamin D, all that shit is keeping men sedated. Mm-hmm. I think it's sedation, because I don't, if men were the same men that we were 100 years ago when our testosterone levels were where they were supposed to be, I think it would have already got burnt down. That's my personal opinion. But the porn,
our stuff is also
low. They don't get that real female, but they can go on OnlyFans. That's the only thing that's keeping these men from burning this motherfucker down. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Like
if anything, the sedation is actually keeping more bull dudings. I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Keeping those things from happening, kind
of. No, and it'll. But I think the pendulum's gonna swing because a lot of dudes are gonna wake up and they're gonna have that. They're gonna have their pants pulled so far down that they're gonna stop caring about the rules. And the truth of the matter is, men are the revolution, and women understand that, and that's why they use shame in order to stop violence. So because they know they can't really prevent men from being violent. Now the culture is to shame you out of your ability to be violent.
That's so true.
And so now you have young men that they don't care about the shame anymore. They're stopping the caring about the shame, and they're going to just be thinking about violence. And when you have a declining birth rate where women don't want to have kids because they make their own money and they're their own bosses, and for some reason you give a man $1 million, he wants a family. You give a woman $1 million, she goes, I don't need a man. So with women making more money, the birth rate is declining, but when the birth rate declines, you have a whole bunch of old people that need productive young people. So the rule ain't going to be you can do whatever you want. Once that happens, once we go into chaos, that hard time that's going to start building strong men, that strong men culture is going to be a very strong man culture.
And it's not going to be like the past.
Yeah, religion's going to come back. I'm telling you, strict religion is going to come back. Strict rules are going to come back. Boundaries, standards for people, that's all going to come back because that's under the masculine. And it's going to swing. Trust me.
Yeah, because we're not going to deal with this shit no longer. I agree with you, man. A lot of Rolo and all of them say the pendulum will never swing, but they just don't understand. It happened in Iran before. Like it got really, really left, and then it went back hard to the right because it was too crazy. How long have you been married?
We've been married 3 years. You about to get me in trouble.
We're gonna clip this one out.
I think it's 3 years. Yeah, we've been married about 3 years now. But, I met her when she was 14 and I was 15. Okay. So we've been together strictly monogamously together.
Damn near 14 years.
Yeah, I'm 28 now. So, yeah. So for 14 years, I've been her soul and only, I lost my virginity to her. She lost her virginity to me. And so we have a really good bond with each other. I think I think just like the old times, bro, it really does have an effect because I'm in a good spot. I've been in a good spot since I was a Division I athlete, and I've had plenty of opportunity. But I look at myself and I look at her, and I just go, I don't want to do that to her. Like, I don't want to hurt her in
And
that
it's
way.
easier to do that whenever you've had that life.
Yeah,
but if you had an hedonistic life where you slept with multiple girls and stuff, it would be very hard for you to do that.
Because it's just like anything, any other drug. If you once you drink for the first time and you have a good time drinking, for the rest of your life, it's become you have to use discipline in order to not drink. So once you smoke, now you have to use discipline in order to not smoke. So if you done fuck 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 women, it does become addictive, and now you have to try not to do it. So when people ask me, how do you not want to get involved with other women, like sexually, I just tell them, shit, I never did it. So I don't have like, they go, and then some people will go, well, how do you know if the sex is good, or what if you in a bad sexual relationship? Well, we're gonna build that together, and if we both don't have a idea of what sex is outside of each other, ignorance is bliss. We just deal with each other, and we'll figure out our sexual kinks and whatever we need to do together, and figure out what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. So I think that, and all the studies show that women who are in relationships enjoy the sex more.
Yeah.
So I really just don't understand why they even want to go out and be promiscuous.
It's once again with her too. If she's never experienced or anything, she's not gonna have. It's gonna be the same. Like, it's a tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
And once you take the bite of that fruit, then you're gonna want another bite.
It's Pandora's box. Yeah. Once it's open, you got it. You in it now.
I truly think it's best for both of y'all. Like you said, every study proves it. It's obvious as hell.
Definitely.
It's obvious as hell. Happiness, lower divorce rate, everything. Do you want kids?
Yeah. So I think kids is the next chapter of my life. If I continue to not, I think if I live a life where I don't have kids, like as of like soon, I can feel, bro. Like when my dad used to tell me stuff about what it means to become a man and the differences of your opinion, and the fact that you might start to become more religious again because you start to understand things differently. I'm feeling that in my life now, and I can feel changes that I'm not even responsible for. It's just happening naturally. Like you start to think, I don't want to do that because this is the consequence of it. That's something that starts to happen after you turn 26. But right now, because I'm 28,
30, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying. So right now I'm 28 and I haven't biologically spreaded my genes yet. I'm feeling that urge to spread my genes more than ever. So I think next year we gonna get started early next year. That's what we've talked about. So we'll probably get started next year. She's 27, I'm 28, and I just want to have as many kids as I can afford, bro. If I could get 20 of them, I'll take 20. She's a twin, my dad's a twin, and my granddad's a triplet.
That's crazy.
We'll probably end up having twins at some point. And so
my girlfriend is a twin also.
Yeah.
I have twins in my family, so I'm hoping if we have kids that we end up popping out some twins.
Yeah, bro. So like realistically, like actual number, I think I want 5. I just want to start lineup, man.
Yeah, so like starting lineup. But you were saying, like 28, bro, I had the same thing. And like I did it all the wrong ways. Like I was telling you earlier, like I had a daughter, outside of wedlock. It was actually the first date. Like knocked her up, and we were doing so in this hedonistic world, sometimes people do like like kink play of where like you ejaculate inside of them, and it's more of like for fun, and like you just buy a plan B the next day and it's no big deal, and it's like, well, the plan B didn't work, so I end up with a child. I end up with a child. But no, it just I really believe that. Like I had that urge though at 28 too. Like my daughter was born when I was 29, and it's crazy how much you just want to like have a life. Like even though I knew I was kind of doing it the wrong way and stuff, like once I knew she was pregnant, I never told her to abort. I never told her to do anything like that because it was like, nah, if this happened, it's meant to be. Like I'm happy as fuck. Like let's try to make it work. Let's stay together. Let's try to make this. Let's do it. And if we don't make it together, that's fine. We could still have a baby. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And if anything today, I like to say also, because work is so hard today, and like people are working so much and the families are so split, sometimes it might be easier to like have one child divided between like 2 households, because then she gets to go do what she needs to do, and like I get to go do what I need to go work I gotta do, and like I get my free time too. But it would be nice to have a child 24/7, like what you're gonna be able to have with your family. Like I think that's gonna be like the best way possible. But I'm happy that I made it work, even though
co-parenting is the second best idea, and in all reality nowadays it seems like a lot of people are in that situation. So if you are in that situation, your best bet is to exactly, for the sake of the kid. That's what it is.
A lot of people don't understand that the world is really fucked up, and we can't complain. Like I really hate it when men complain without solution. Shout out to Mark Wett.
Yeah.
He likes to say, you know, like that's not masculine. It's feminine to it's a feminine trait to complain, but when you put up a solution with it, that's what makes it masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's my biggest thing. It's just anytime life has ever got hard for me, it's just like I don't care. I'm gonna find a solution to
Yeah,
it.
you have to.
It doesn't matter.
That's what you have to do.
What's the best way to protect kids from society? We kind of talked about this a little bit. What do you think is the best way to protect kids from, you know, like when you have your kids from society? What are you going to do?
Oh yeah, just build tradition, build a good family around them. Make sure that I can show my wife my morals and values so that she can put those onto the kids early on. And then
Seems
from there,
like she already has pretty amazing morals and values.
yeah,
Bro.
yeah. She's a real
Better
yeah,
than the
she's a
most.
gem, bro. Like she likes to cook a lot. Like she likes to spend time with her family. These are the things that I look for. Like even when I'm like that, those are the things you should be looking for.
Bro, I just did a show the other day on how to tell she's a wifey, and like that's a lot of the traits I said. My girl's the same. I just picked her up from her mom's today. Like she spends a lot of time with family, cooks all the time.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. It's really simple to find the right person, but it's a matter of like pigeonholing the right traits, kind of. I think it's like my big thing is I'm against online dating because like when you online date, you like end up choosing somebody that's usually nobody else wants. Like I have a bunch of beautiful friends that you know that I was telling you, like I'm friends with a lot of girls. None of them online date. Because they're beautiful. Like they always have options around them and stuff like that. And so I just feel like the guys that online date, they're just kind of getting like the ones that nobody wants, the older women that are already like traumatized, or you know, the ones that have already had a high body count or something.
Or ones that want to keep going on a high body count, because that's my motto right there. Any woman that can sleep with a man without any emotional attachment, to me, that's the definition of a whore.
Yeah.
I think the difference between a woman
it takes a high body count to be able to do that.
Yeah, and the more you dive into it, the less oxytocin your body creates when you sleep with a man, and the less attachment you have to the men after that one, and then after that one, and after that one. So then sex just becomes sex, like they say, because they've detached themselves from it, trying to be like men, trying to be promiscuous, living a life that most women really don't want to live.
They don't,
you know, in the long run.
Until it's traumatized. But like so that's a funny point that you bring up, because I always ask them, like, do you think, you know, that you get emotionally attached during sex? And like sometimes there's one or two girls on the panel just like, I don't get attached at all. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good thing, sweetheart.
That's a whore.
It's like what's your body count?
That's a whore symptom.
You know?
Yeah, you ain't fully diagnosed, but you got the goddamn symptoms of a whore for sure.
And sometimes you can find out their body count just by asking them what they want their male spouse's body count to be, because they'll kind of reflect on what theirs is. They might be like, I want him to be like around 100. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm guessing you're probably
too, when you've been around women enough and they think they can hide it, but when you've been around women enough, you can tell, not all the time, but a lot of the times, what type of woman a woman is. Because being a hoe come with hoe characteristics. It come with hoe traits. Like, and women don't see them, but if you're a man that has experience with women, talking to women, being around women, you could definitely tell when a woman has been around the block as a man. But certain things they believe in, how they say things, how they conduct themselves around men, you could just tell. If any woman that's arguing with a man, to me, you like I said, you ain't fully diagnosed, but that's a symptom. Because any lady that I've met in my life, they remove themselves from violent men. Any man that's calling a woman a B word or F word or blah blah blah, and they getting aggressive with a woman, the ladies that I know in my life, they don't try to call them the B word back to try to get back and try to be even. They go, okay, I'm gonna leave out of this situation.
That's a really good point, bro.
Yeah, because as the woman, you can't maintain, you can't fight against this man. What women do to gain power is they appeal to other men's better nature to protect them from bad men. So what these women have to understand is when that man is out there calling you all these B words, that's a man that's not he already ain't the type of man that you want to be around, because no gentleman is going to be using that language in front of a lady. First of all, so you're already in a fight with a person that's a certain type of guy that might be willing to hit you. So any dude that's yelling at a woman in her face, calling her a B word, the ladylike thing to do is to walk away. And that's why it's kind of a whole feature to be sitting there arguing with a grown man trying to get aggressive, like you actually have the ability to defend yourself if it went there.
That's
you know what I mean?
So true, though, dude. Oh my goodness, it's like that girl that got hit in the face with a brick the other day.
Yeah,
Literally.
You ain't diagnosed, but it's a symptom. That's for sure.
So I like to say that I believe, you know, comedy and channels, you know, like yours are the key to people learning new things. I really think that comedy is what brings the world together.
Yeah.
You know, people being able to laugh at things that normally they feel bad for laughing at or something, you know. Do you think that like channels like yours, you know, people that are trying to bring comedy but also truths with it, you know, like facts and just like how the world is and stuff, that's gonna, you know, help save the world in a way? Because like just like one of the big people I used to love is George Carlin because he was just such a good
Go
comedian.
call him, go. Yeah.
But then at the same time, he was just so speaking facts.
Yeah.
You know, like how do you see like channels like yours and other people that do stuff like you? Are y'all changing the world?
I think. Well, see, me, in all honesty, bro, where it's all going or where it is right now. Me personally, I'll speak about the channels in a second, but for me personally, I don't try to change the world. I just try to plant a seed. So, and with that seed, it might not grow until the conditions change. You might not understand what I'm saying until it's raining outside. And then that seed starts to grow a little bit. What I'm saying to you might make sense after you done got cheated on.
Yeah.
You might go, oh, well, you know, I don't care about this. I don't care. He's wrong about this. Once you experience it, you might go, okay, I remember what he said in the past, and he might have been right about a couple things. It's just like Clorox, they marketing, and when you go to the store as a 24-year-old, all of a sudden you need toilet paper for your house. You go cha, you know, chlor, or what's it called? You know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah, the tissue brand. You think about what they said because they planted that seed in you earlier through marketing. So that's all I do. I try to plant a seed. I'm not really trying to change everybody overnight. So that's why I like to make my content. But I do think that fast-paced comedy, laughing through your pain thing is the future. You got to hide. And this goes for anybody that wants to do a YouTube channel or make any kind of content online. You got to hide the medicine in the candy. People don't want just straight medicine. They can't handle just pure numbers, facts, data, and statistics. Yeah. They can't. It's just too much for them. Like, so you got to be able to make it entertaining and make it, just make it entertaining, bro. That's what you have to do if you want to be successful online. Be a little bit controversial, I guess, but be able to back your controversial opinions with actual facts and a reasonable explanation for why you've said that controversial thing. And you could do really well online. And there's a lot of money to be made online, too, for anybody that's looking for something to do. But yeah, I do think that is the future, bro. Putting the candy or the medicine in the candy for sure.
I really think that people like you lead the world to the better place, bro. Like it's a big deal. If I was really good at comedy and being funny, I would be making that content because I think that's the bridge to me, you know. How hard is it to script your videos, man? Do you just come up with everything off the top of your head? Like you're just all natural about all of it?
Yeah, so anytime I talk in between the videos, it probably takes me about 2 minutes in between. Like really the longest part and the part that takes my soul away is scrolling all day, bro. Like it affects my attention span. It affects my level of happiness because of all the dopamine that I just, can men and women be friends, blah, blah, blah. Like I see it so much because I'm trying to find like
the
good
best
clips. Yeah. So yeah, like me just sitting there trying to find the best clips is the hardest part of my job. When I get to sit there and talk about the clips that I find that I'm passionate about, oh, that's cheese.
That's the easiest part.
Yeah, I can do that all day. That's the easy part. Then after that, I got to clip it together. I got to edit it. Got to put the music behind it. So really the labor is what happens behind the screen. That's when I'm editing and putting things together and finding the clips.
People have no idea. Like I'm sure nobody even understands that YouTube is like that, you know, until they hear somebody, a big YouTuber like you say that, they're like, wow, his job isn't even what I thought it was.
My job is finding good clips. And to do it, you have to be you have to understand what people like. And so we were talking about this earlier before the camera came on. When you try to hire people onto what you're doing, it's always really hard. And this is why I still do it myself. Because some people go, oh, why don't you outsource it? Those people aren't me. So they're not going to understand what my audience likes because they weren't building that audience for 3 years. They're not going to understand what clips people like because they've never done it really. So as you grow bigger, you can find people that are better at it. But it's all, for me personally, I've always just thought it was best for me to do it myself.
If you watch your analytics well enough, there's nobody that's better than you at it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so that's the route that I take, man. And that's why I called it the Poor Man's Podcast. When I first started it, I only had a cell phone. I use my cell phone as the webcam with an app called Droid Cam. And this is the cheap speed run, y'all. If y'all want just a cheap way to get into podcasting or whatever you want to do online.
Yeah, I know some of my guys would love this. Actually.
Yeah, it don't cost a lot of money. So I use the app, and I'm going to do it quick for anybody that's not interested. I don't want to take up too much time. But I got an app called Droid Cam that allows you to use your phone through a USB to record yourself. I got a free app called OBS Studios. You can go and download it right off Google. And I downloaded an app called InShot, and that's where I transfer the files onto my phone to edit on my phone. So I called it the Poor Man's Podcast originally because I did it on a really small budget. The most expensive part was maybe my laptop, and that was probably $400 $150.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, now I went big. I got a webcam and a couple of lights. You know what I'm saying? So just to make it look better, but it doesn't when you start it. Your phone camera is good enough quality to compete with almost anything. So if you're starting off and you just want to get a voice out there, just get some traction, start there. You ain't got to be too expensive. So
I teach guys in my mentorship how to start a personal brand.
Yeah,
just like what I've done throughout the year and stuff. And yeah, my first thing I always tell them is you don't have to spend $35,000 on a studio like I did. Like
No.
you can do it all. And I didn't learn this till afterwards. I'm like, guys, if I would have known this before, I would have started my personal brand way cheaper. Since I spent all the money doing it the wrong way, I'll teach you how to do it the right way now.
Yeah,
the cheapest way.
And my thing too, and I think what resonated a little bit about me is that I was very frugal. Like, and so even to this day, I just got like a $40 webcam that I use, and I don't want to change it because it's not broken. So like, I think that people enjoy, I think people enjoy the authenticity of it.
They do.
I don't want to get too many bells and whistles. I appreciate that, bro.
I like the basic.
Yeah. Like it's just like I come on. Yeah,
bro.
I come on as a little bit of music in the background, but it's really just me, a regular guy that had to work his entire life just like everybody else until I posted consistently on a website called YouTube, and then luckily at some point it exploded, because that's what you got to do. If you want to get good at anything, you just got to do it consistently, and eventually your day is going to come when it cracks, but you have to continue to do it consistently.
You can't ever give up. You got to have the grit. The grit to never give up.
But that's what I learned from sports though.
Yeah.
So the everyday grind from sports taught me that when my back was injured and I couldn't really do sports anymore, I still had the discipline that I developed from all them years. And so I just applied that to a new avenue. And that's what helped me pop off. So
yeah. What's any new tips for a new YouTuber that you would give somebody?
I mean, I kind of talked about it earlier. Just be consistent. If you need to do it on a low budget, do it on a low budget. Be resourceful. When you're people say don't read a book by its cover, but everybody does, right? So in your thumbnails and titles, you do kind of have to be controversial, and that's where you hide the candy and the medicine. Look, people. Look, here's the thing, and I'm gonna be completely honest here. People are gonna choose Cheetos over carrots every time. They're gonna tell you that they want the carrots just to try to make themselves feel good, but then they're gonna choose the Cheetos. There's the reason why you sell out of the Cheetos before you do the carrots. There's a reason why when you go on Facebook, you see Kim Kardashian's butt, and that's because that's what people click on. So you got to make thumbnails and titles that people are actually interested in, that are thought-provoking. That are simple too. You don't want them to be too many words and too, extravagant. And on your thumbnails, make sure you have a lot of facial expressions, because naturally when people see faces, it's something innate in us. Even on Rolex, with Rolex, they always have the hands on 10 and 2. And this was something that I learned from selling the Rolexes. Yeah. But on their websites, they always have the hand on 10 and 2 because it mimics a smile. So, and when people are scrolling, when you see a face, it makes you, especially a face that has a lot of reaction, whether it be sadness, fear, guilt, happiness doesn't. People don't respond to happiness as much, and that's why you see a lot of doom and gloom content. Like that's why you see a lot of that, because people
makes money.
It's what people click on.
Advertisers.
Yeah. So make sure you're using big faces in your thumbnails and using interesting titles, because people are gonna judge the book by the cover, and if they don't think that it's interesting from that thumbnail, they don't care about what you're saying in the video because they'll never hear it. So
how do you make your thumbnails? You use like Canva, or do you like what app do you use?
I use Pixel Lab.
Somebody else just told me about that one the other day.
Yeah, I use Pixel Lab for mine, and mine are usually really simple. It's just two faces with an arrow. So and that simplicity where you at least have the emotion in the faces, that's enough for people to stop and go, oh, I want to see what happens. Why does this person have that emotion on their face? Like it's part of human nature. So it's kind of like, really, a lot of what I do is like, it's the back end stuff. It's the hacking of the brain.
The algorithm.
Yeah. It's like figuring out the algorithm, figuring out what people actually like. And when you're in the media, it can make you a little bit jaded, because you realize what people actually respond to isn't what they say they respond to.
It's like women.
People need to know, bro. People need to know that the media knows more about you than you do, because you're willing to lie to yourself. But we know that what you want to see. So when CNN or Fox or whoever these people are posting the things that they do, it's because they know what you're actually into versus what you say that you're into. Man. So sometimes we know people better than they know themselves.
We're being manipulated like crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the game.
But it's not necessarily manipulation, especially if you actually give the people what they want, like what they intended on in the video and in the title. So if you say something that's happening in the title, you want it to actually be happening in the video, because people will start not liking your content if you're lying about, you know, the thumbnail and the title.
Oh, I'm gonna title this one "Most Revealing Interview Ever"
Yeah,
on the Poor Man's Podcast.
Right, yeah. Well, you actually probably could, because I haven't really talked about my life in as much detail as I have today. And there's other components of it too, but I think
How many interviews have you done for other people?
I did Saucecast, I did Daily Wrap Up Crew, I did No Jumper, and I think that's it, bro. I don't really do
special,
interviews.
bro.
Yeah, bro. I don't
I
really do
feel
interviews,
really
bro.
special
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
why. Yeah, I just don't. It's the long form. You know, it's the long form content. It's way different than the videos. You have to be able to stay entertaining and be coherent and articulate for a long period of time. And you know, it's a whole separate skill in and of itself.
It really is.
Yeah, that's why I respect like people like Tate, the people that can go on for 4 hours straight and just completely just be articulate with everything they say, project their ideas in a way for other people to understand them simply. Yeah, I think it's the greatest skill in the world.
Oh, it is.
I think being able to move people is the greatest skill.
To be able to stop saying like between things and then and those type of things. I really respect those guys now because I see how good they are. Just those little things like that.
Yeah.
But if you watch Myron, I'll watch him and I'll try to count how many times he slips up saying like or because I do that so much. And like by the end of a show, I'll notice that me and him are almost similar in numbers. I'm like, okay, then I'm not as bad as I think I am. Like sometimes I really beat myself up, and it's
but that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But you got to do that. You got to compare yourself to the best. So if there's somebody that ain't doing as well as me, I don't really care about their opinion as much. I want to be able to compare myself to the Joe Rogans or the people who are the greatest at it, because even if it makes me feel bad about my current ability, I'm gonna get closer to that eventually.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing the same thing, bro. I'm hard on myself about.
I feel like the more you memorize, or for me at least personally with the live shows, the more I memorize and the more articulate I get with my sentences, the less I'll say and like.
Yeah, you know what I'm realizing is it's kind of like comedians when they have bits. So
they're memorizing.
Yeah, they have like
memorized bit.
Yeah, so like they have like something that you'll say that'll trigger an opinion that they've already developed when they were in that stage where they were in the shower and they were passionate about something, and then they win it. So like Andrew Tate, you'll hear him really repeating things that he's already said in the short form, and that's why he makes the short form content too, because then he'll just go vegans, blah blah blah, 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 blah. So then when somebody talks about veganism, he just goes into the same kind of skit that he's already done.
Getting into
yeah, so it's like pattern recognition.
That's what I'm at right now.
Well, it's the same thing when you talk to women too. Like you just get used to them saying certain things and the most clever way to respond to it, and you try new things every now and then.
That's exactly how the panel show works. It's just like, girl, what you just said, I've heard 15 times over the last 2 months.
And that's why you see Myron and I'll be forgetting Fresh. Yeah, I'll be forgetting. But Myron and Fresh, that's why you see them getting better. You know, even the guy from the Whatever podcast, when he first started, he was very.
Yeah, he's really good now.
Yeah, he's really good
at digging. He's getting really good at digging like deeper, and that's what me and my producer are getting good at, is asking the right questions.
But actually, and man, and maybe you clip this into the other part where I was talking about like podcasts that I like or channels that I like. It's complicated as top tier entertainment, bro. Let's talk about it. I
don't know how he gets those questions,
bro.
He's so smart.
It's like what's it called? It's like deducing. It's like where lawyers will ask you questions that lead you into a corner, and then he hits you with the thing where it's like, okay, well, you've said that women are better at this. Well, then why is this, and this? You know what I mean? And then they just sit there and they go, I don't know, but they've already cornered themselves because they've already answered the question previously that contradicts, you know,
that is how it is, though.
Yeah, he asks leading questions. It's similar to what a lawyer does.
That's what my producer does. So like he stays back there and he writes down everything the lady say, because I can't remember everything, or I don't write it down. But then like he'll be like, but earlier in the show you said this though, you know. But he'll plan a question all based off of like what they answered at the very beginning. Yeah. But yeah, I'm horrible at that shit. I'm really happy he does that for me.
So like he'll say something like, and this is me coming off the top of my head. So he'll go like, why? So who's better socially, men or women? And then they'll always go like, women, blah blah blah, women are the best. And then he'll go, well, if that's the case, why do you expect men to be able to read nonverbal communication? Because that's one of the highest forms of, you know, like, you know, and then they just go,
you're so wrong.
Like he'll be like, well, will you ever approach a man? They'll be like, no. And they'll be like, well, then why do you expect men to, you know, read nonverbal communication, the highest form of being able to communicate? And then, you know, they get stuck, or like, that's kind of what he'll do. Like he's really good at it though. That's just me coming off the top of my head, but he does it to a whole nother level.
He's honestly like one of my favorites just because of the breakdown of the conversation.
Yeah, like he's reached out to me before, and he'd be like he was talking about me reacting to his content, and it's just so well said that I don't really have anything else to say.
Like, bro, you did that so good. I can't even say anything.
Yeah, like
right
I can't react to it because you did it. Like you already did the thing that you need to do. So yeah, I really like It's Complicated.
You need to go to Vegas and be on a show one time.
Yeah.
Is he in Vegas?
Yeah, he in Vegas.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if you had collabed with any other people in the area in DFW. Is there any other people you collabed with?
I did some stuff with Lapeef, but that was all online. I know Lapeef Network.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm good friends with Lapeef.
Yeah, Lapeef was out here.
So I did talk like every Tuesday.
Yeah, so I did some stuff with him. But it was all online based. I met him in person. Lapeef is real cool.
He's cool as hell.
Yeah, he's real cool,
He's
real
like
chill
a good
dude.
homie, bro.
Yeah, you could tell the things that he talks about. He's has experience in talking to girls. Because some dudes you'll meet and you go the stuff you just going off of what you saying. You don't actually live what you saying. Like there's no way you have any experience with women based off how you interact socially. So, but yeah, he's a real one. So that's the only.
I feel so special right now.
Them and Crew Season. A guy named Trill AC. There's a guy named OT they got over there, and a guy named Smooth. I met all three of them. All three of them are cool dudes. They were just out here for a show on Sunday. They did the Tonight's Conversation thing, where they'll have. They just did a show out. I know.
Are they Dallas guys? Or are they?
Oh, they're from Houston though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's 3 hours away. Yeah. So but they just did a show with the Tonight's Conversation. They had 3,000 people in there.
Jesus.
I went in there thinking it was going to be like a small event.
Oh, that's what you were at yesterday or the day before, right?
Yeah, on Sunday. Yeah, I went there thinking it was going to be like some small event. I'm sitting in the back. I should have got VIP so I could come in the front, and talk to everybody and do whatever I needed to do. But I'm sitting there squinting at the stage. I can't even see them. It's 3,000 people in there for a live show. They're charging $60 a ticket. I'm not pocket watching, but I'm sure they're doing really well over there.
I guess I've seen their clips online. Like they've had Ace Metaphor on and stuff like
and they got like that Keita something Keita.
Oh, but they're doing these shows regularly?
Like, yeah, they're doing a lot. They're on tour right now. That Trill was here, OT was here, and I think Smooth. Yeah,
so
Smooth
it's a touring thing that they're doing.
Yep, and so they were just here in Dallas, and now they're going to North Carolina to do the next leg, I believe.
That's the coolest thing about this influencer stuff, and like we're seeing this a lot of like the Texas guys, because it's not like where you can just be in Miami or be in LA or be in Vegas and you get clicks off of pretty people that come on your stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like the guys around here, like if you look at the standard with like Hafiz and stuff, like he's focusing on local men. He's running ads. Like I see his ads all the time for the standard, and he's trying to bring guys into like a local group. And it's like, that's a cool idea how he's doing it. Then you got Crew Season going and doing these tours in different places to do. It's like, there's so many different ways to like make it on YouTube. It's just a matter of trying to figure out what's the best. Like my big thing is I want to take Dallas or DFW up. Yeah. Like I believe that our city has so much gold and people just aren't seeing it yet. And I just want to be the one that puts all the money until everybody sees the stars here.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to like just push up because there's tons of smaller YouTube. I added you that YouTube group. It's just they're all smaller than me, but like I want us all to grow. Like I want us all to come up. Kind of like how like Fresh and Fit went up and they brought all their homies up with them.
Yeah,
that's my goal. It's like if I go
Fresh
up,
and Fit go up. Now you start seeing Justin Waller and Sterling Cooper. Yeah. Even Rolo Moore. Yeah. I know he had,
but Rolo blew up a lot.
Yeah. He was, but like I think with the Fresh and Fit influence, boomed him up. Zerka. So yeah, they put a lot of people on. They do their thing over there, man. That's
my goal.
They brought up the whole of Miami with that show.
That's like my big thing is like if I'm ever making it, I'm bringing up everybody in Dallas with me because I want this whole city. I'm telling you, like there's talent here. Yeah. It's just people just don't know it. I mean, you're here, like obviously there's talent here, just people just don't know it.
Maybe you should try to get Charleston White on.
Dude, I should. I didn't know that he was in Fort Worth. That's crazy. He's in Fort Worth.
Yeah, he's in Fort Worth.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna
Stay Cheese TV is here.
Yeah, see, I always see people say Cheese, but for some reason I thought they were out of Atlanta or something. Like, I had no idea.
Right here in Dallas. I think Say Cheese is actually in Dallas. I know Charleston. I'm pretty sure. I know Charleston White is in Fort Worth. Yeah, he was born and raised in Fort Worth.
One of my next questions was: do you think Texas will be a big deal for the future of influence, and influencers? Like, do you think that there's anybody that might come up here in the next decade, or do you think any influencers might move here because the city might start popping off soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are moving here all the time, so it's just a matter of time before somebody really booms up. But I think we
It's been
already,
dull for a while though. It's been
yeah,
pretty fucking boring for
yeah.
a good decade or two.
Yeah, we even got that dude on TikTok that is
Israel, yeah, no,
yeah.
I love Israel
He
shit,
be on
bro.
7th Street. That's right in Fort Worth.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
no, no.
I never ran into him. I go to 7th Street every now and then. I never ran into him, but yeah, he be right out there
I
too.
love Israel's stuff, bro.
Yeah,
Like
so it's
if
just
you
a
go
matter
look
of
at
time.
any of his reels, I'm always one of the first people to comment because I love. His
I like
shit
that. I seen his evolution and confidence from using those social skills and building
Yeah.
those social skills.
Yeah,
You
'cause
see
I
him
saw him
now
from the
versus
start,
3 years ago. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see him now versus 2 or 3 years ago, and he's a totally different person in how he interacts with the women.
But
Specifically,
him doing boxing or doing like all that extra stuff, it's right. It gives you confidence. And when
Yeah.
you're doing street interviews, when somebody could come knock the shit out of you for something, or knock the camera
when
down,
you
or
got to
something,
start a random conversation up with an interesting question that catches somebody's attention, that's the same thing that you're doing in the
dude, he's
field when
so
you're talking to
funny.
women.
The one I saw earlier where he was like, he asked the girl, "Does your coochie stink?" It was just like so
Yeah,
random,
just a
but so
random.
funny, bro.
Yeah,
Like brings out the weirdest thing in people. So like I have a big belief that like Texas and Florida are like huge deal over the coming years, man. Like because the popular vote is such a big deal based off of our populations, and we're the two biggest red states.
mm-hmm.
Do you think like what do you think would happen if one of our states turned blue? Like, do you think that it would be detrimental to the whole system, like the whole country?
I think that it would. Yeah, I think it would change everything.
Yeah,
I'm not
because of
gonna
our
lie.
populist vote.
Yeah, I think it'll change everything. I think we need the balance to swing more right politically right now. I think we didn't went too far left. So I pray that that doesn't happen. But with so many people coming from California and New York and trying to bring their own cultures here instead of trying to change the things that made their state bad to the point where they want to move here, I mean, I just hope that it doesn't. But you even see places like Austin that were historically red, now blue.
Yeah,
So you got to be careful. I go out to Austin, I see a lot of green hair.
yeah.
I see a lot
Pink.
of rainbow flags instead of American flags like I see out here in Dallas.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's it's just a different perspective, man. I think they gotta stay red for us to keep a little bit of balance. If one of these states turn blue, we're gonna have a tough time.
Yeah, shout out to Zuby. He went on Fresh and Fit a while back, and like one of the big things he said is like people don't realize how big of a deal it is that Texas and Florida are the two populous red states, and how easily if we lost guns here, how fast the whole world would fall.
Yeah,
Because we're the last country that's like this. So and all Soros and like all the powers that be and stuff, if they take our guns away, I mean, there's no other country to defend. Like we're the policemen of the world.
yeah.
So like, and the only counterbalance to the policemen of the world thing is us having guns here to make it to where they can't fully.
Well, yeah,
take over.
I just think I get the perspective of you don't want people to die. I understand that. Trust me, and I definitely sympathize. I actually sympathize with it quite a bit. But like I said, with the media stuff, they know what gets clicks and what gets views. And a good school shooting, you can get a lot of views and a lot of sympathy with a good school shooting. So I think it's blown up in terms of how many people actually pass away from that scenario. If we talk about men ending themselves, that's a significant more men do that than they do shoot up schools. Yeah. So there are other problems. Americans have had guns for hundreds of years. Now you're just seeing it come up as a problem. And I think it's because we have a mental health problem, not really a gun problem. Yeah. And I think it's very convenient for people who protect themselves surrounded by people with guns, who protect their property surrounded by people with guns, and people who protect almost everything they care about with people with guns, to tell you can't protect the people you care about with your gun. No. So yeah, I think that's just I don't really get down with that necessarily. And plus, it gives us the biggest army in the world. If somebody steps on U.S. soil, there'll be a rifle behind every blade of grass.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But people don't understand. Come and take it. It ain't gonna ever happen in Texas,
no,
bro.
Texas ain't going for it. Yeah.
But I really have that strong belief though that if we fall, the whole world's gonna fall, man. So. What's your opinion on abortion? Do you like it how it is right now, where it's a state's right at least, where they can kind of decide?
Yeah, I think it should be dictated by every state. I think that's one of the things that makes America one of the greatest places, that we're so versatile in our opinions, and I think that it all has a balance. The pendulum does swing, but we do have a certain balance that has made America good. But it's to maintain that balance, we have to be willing to be able to talk to each other. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do think that it should be a state-based thing, and if you don't agree with rules in a certain state, just move states, and that's part of what makes America great. But my personal opinions on it, I don't support it. I don't think that I wouldn't advise any of the women in my life to ever do it. I think that life is precious. I think that life should be seen as something as a gift from God, regardless of where it comes from. obviously in situations where a woman is victimized sexually,
Yeah.
it should the
Or about
standards
to
are,
die
or
or
about to
something.
die, but
Yeah.
those are less than 1% of the cases.
Yes.
Most of it is I wanted to sleep around and oopsies. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, I can't really respect your decision to end a potential life for that. There are a lot of people that say that they can't afford to have the kid, but I don't believe that argument because historically speaking, people have been significantly more poor than where we are now. And if you go to almost any country, you'll see people that are poor that are still reproducing, that have their children, and that are perfectly fine. I think people have been taught to be materialistic, so much so that they care about themselves and their own material goods more than they do the well-being of a potential child. And I think that's insane. And even if you look at the poorest demographics in our country, those are the people that are having the most kids. So to make the argument that you just can't afford it, it's like, well, everybody is kind of in that situation. When women, especially black women, say they support it, I can't get behind it because I don't know if you know, bro, but Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret. Well, one of the founders was Margaret Sanger, who was a known racist. She was a part of the thing called the Negro Project, where she was talking to the Ku Klux Klan and said that she basically want to rid the world of the weeds that are going to drown out the brightest flowers of our culture. So she was talking about getting rid of black babies. And this is how because she was in the South trying to promote it. And to promote it to them, she was like, hey, you don't want none of these niggas walking around. So what we going to do is say, hey, if you want your white babies to be good, get rid of the black ones. And that's part of the thing that got her to move. So when I see black women, eugenics. So when I see black women supporting that movement so heavily, I just can't really get behind it because the history of the movement was it had bad blood in the history of it.
Even know.
Yeah, and that's just something I can't get behind as a whole.
My big thing is, at least in the states where there is like abortion, I want guys to be able to get there. Like, I'm all about changing the laws, bro. Like, I know a lot of people in the red pill space and the manosphere, nobody talks about politics or laws, but I'm crazy about that shit. One of the big guys that comes on my show all the time, it's one of the mentors of my coach. He ran for Senate here in Texas. He's a eye surgeon up in Plano.
Oh, that's massive.
His name's Dr. Matt. Yeah, he's a super cool guy, man. He comes on to co-host with me all the time. And we're really about pushing people into politics because, the world's messed up today and nobody's doing anything about it. And we have to do something. But like, even in those states where they have abortion, if men could get their rights signed away in those states, I'm not saying in the states like here for them to have that, but in the states where they have abortion already, it checks the men and the women. It makes the women go, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have this kid because he's going to sign his rights away as soon as it comes out.
Exactly.
So I just really think balance, like you're saying, there needs to be balance, and that's what will cause a good balance shift.
Yeah, because what people don't want to talk about is the number of women that are sexually irresponsible. What people always want to talk about is the men that are sexually responsible. But Future, and I'm just using him as an example because everybody knows him, he has 9 baby mothers. That means after the first one, 8 other women seen that he wasn't being as responsible as he could be to his kid potentially, and they still decided to sleep with him. So in that scenario, you have 8 sexually irresponsible women and 1 sexually irresponsible man, and everybody will look at that situation and go, men need to change.
He's the bad,
but it's like, it's only one guy versus the 8 women that are making sexually irresponsible choices. So if you want to make sexually irresponsible choices in the new world, if we're going to do equality, if that's where we're going. Now, we want to go back to chivalry, maybe it's a different story.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do equality where women are making just as much money as men, you can't tie a man down by having kids. If you get the right to get rid of a child, the man should have the right to sign his rights away in order for, if he doesn't want to be a parent.
Just counteracts the balance.
Yeah.
I think it checks the woman whenever you do that.
Yeah, I think it's equality.
Yeah, equality. I
love equality.
I love equality. What do you think about the trans movement, man? Is it losing steam finally, you think? I know some of your best videos that I loved were on trans stuff, bro.
I mean, I haven't really talked about it in a while because I just...
It is losing steam then.
I think the pride thing is probably bigger than ever. When you go to the White House and you see them hanging the pride flag up, that really was something I didn't like to see. I don't think that any flag should be hung as high as the American flag. As an American, as a person that's represented our country in athletics in 12 different countries, I understand the importance of being American. And when I came back home after seeing how impoverished almost every other place is, I was damn near kissing the ground while I was in the airport because there is no place like America. So, but I think it's going to go away because now we're going to move into hard times. And just like when you seen in the Ukraine, as soon as shit got real, all that shit went out the window. All this feminism, all these ideas are able to exist because we built the society industrially to the point where women can be in the workplace. Because like a lot of women will say, men just didn't want women to work. Well, the jobs were all dirty, laborious jobs where people work for 12 hours. I don't know very many women that want to pick up rocks for 12 hours a day. And if you get a cut, you got to just cut your arm off and throw it in a ditch, because that was the circumstances that people worked for all the time until you could have air conditioning and pizza parties. Now women want to come into the workforce. So, during those hard times, like before, men start to take over. All the feminism, all the BS goes out of the window. When the stuff happened in the Ukraine, all those guys that identified as women got pushed to the front line, just like all the rest of the men. All that shit when the women was supporting them dudes and saying, yeah, you go, sis, you're a woman too, you can do whatever. They was like, okay, we're fleeing, and the men and the men that claim they're not men are going to stay here and fight this war. Yeah, so all that shit go out the window as soon as things get real, and I think we're going to move into hard times. And so, yeah, I don't think the next 10 years is for the trans movement. People are starting to wake up and realize that we're starting to compromise so many of our industries for less than 1% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that have one leg and they represent less than 1% of the population, but when they go to Foot Locker, they still got to buy 2 shoes because you can't compromise the whole structure for just less than 1% of the population. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, people are starting to wake up to that. When you see people, people in bringing transgenders into the schools, and once it started to get to the point where it affected the kids, I think a lot of the parents are starting to wake up. I think we have a long way to go, but yeah, that's where I become an enemy.
Yeah.
Once you start affecting the kids, once you opt out of having children because of your own sexual choices, as in you want to only have same sex, whatever you do, then you're not going to then come in and indoctrinate my kids with your beliefs, because my whole point of being a parent is to put my beliefs onto my children. I want my children to be exact replications of me. I want them to be honorable. I want them to have integrity. I want them to have my ideas. And if I've built my life with those integral ideas, I want my kids to have those ideas, not your ideas. You don't get to put your ideas on my kids.
Yep.
So I think that's where a lot of parents are starting to have a lot of pushback. And we definitely need some growth in that area. But yeah, in the next 10 years, I just couldn't see it being a thing.
It might die. I think it's going to die off. I think they lost a lot of steam, man.
Yeah.
Is the woke ideology here to stay, or do you think it's agree with the same with the trans stuff?
Yeah,
you think it's go?
It's still, once the hard times come, strong men are going to come back, and once strong men come back, they're going to have a hard time. The biggest problem that we have for building the strong men back is the ability to be, for men to just be watching porn, like we were talking about earlier, the things that cause it for their. The biggest thing preventing the strong men from coming back at this point is the fact that there's plastic in the ranch dressing. There's, so you got the estrogen in there, decrease in male testosterone. Niggas ain't going outside and getting vitamin D. They don't work in the field no more. Men don't want to go out and sweat. They don't want to work out. They're watching porn. They're playing video games. So men are like, they're just in a position right now where they don't have the power or the strength or the will to get up and fight. But that's going to change. You see it. Like if you go on TikTok, you see the gym culture coming back. You see more people becoming religious and getting those traditional values back. You see more people pushing against the machine that has been propagated on us because we're starting to feel the effects of it. So the 60-year, 70-year party where the orgy was happening and everybody was just doing the drugs and the free love, that's over. Hard times are coming. We got to pay all this debt back. We're going to have to do it eventually. Yep. And so, when that happens, you're going to get more families because people can't afford to live alone, or you're going to get people that meet their demise. But I think people are going to push back to more traditional values before they just allow their country to just burn. So
it's crazy that they said that, because like I have 2 friends that I went and saw earlier when I was calling you when I was headed back home, and like when I was at their house, like they're not in the red pill space, like they don't watch any of this type of stuff, or they're not on self-improvement kicks, or they might watch Joe Rogan or something, but they I was telling them about the testosterone stuff that I'm taking right now, because it's just an all-natural supplement.
What is it?
I'm taking Greg O'Gallagher stuff.
Okay, so
his Kino Mojo.
Okay, have you ever heard of Tonkat Ali?
I've heard, yeah. It's so that's in it.
Okay,
and
that's
like one of the
what's
things
the
that's
other
in
one?
It.
Also, is some with an A? Ayahuasca? Or
no.
Ayahuasca's the psychogenic.
Yeah,
I forgot what it's called.
But no, yeah,
another one.
I'll say A or something like that. But no, there's like, it's multiple things. Like he has like 5 supplements in his Kino Mojo. But like But yeah, I'm crazy about doing it. And as soon as I was talking to them about this stuff, they're like, dude, I want some of that right now.
Yeah.
Because they're also the type like me where they don't want to like go get shots immediately. Like they don't want to just jump to the big pharma answer. They want to like try to do the natural answer first. But yeah, I think men are going to wake up because like I said, those are the type of guys where I would never see them wanting to talk about that.
Yeah.
But they're actually like, you know what? I kind of want to do that too. Like
Because
I see what you're doing, Sergio, and I kind of want to do that too.
Yeah, because that stuff affects everything. It affects your productivity. It affects your libido. It affects your willingness to go out and fight. It affects your level of being aggressive. And when you're a man and you have your morals and your discipline in place, being aggressive isn't a bad thing. Yep. Being aggressive allows you to protect the woman that you love. Yep. Being aggressive allows you to protect your family. Being aggressive allows you to negotiate with your boss and get a raise because you have people that depend on you. So I think that with a lot of guys now starting to wake up with that kind of stuff, like getting their testosterone levels back up, paying attention to how far it's going down. I got mine checked, and I recommend any man to get theirs checked because, like I said, they're putting plastic in the ranch dressing, bro. It got all kinds of estrogen in it. It's turning you into literally a bitch. So it's important that you go out there and do your research on yourself and how you can better yourself. And testosterone levels, vitamin D. Vitamin D is the only vitamin that your body produces on its own. You have a bunch of vitamins in your body. Vitamin D is the only one that it produces on its own. It is super important for your testosterone levels. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go any further with that. But yeah,
go to a doctor, guys. It cost me $25 to go get mine tested. Like it was nothing. $25. The worst part of it was her bugging me the whole time to start getting the shots as soon as I did it.
Two large pizzas, you fat piece of shit. two large pizzas, and you can actually know what kind of a man you are. So go and do that, bro. And then if your levels come back low, you know what you got to work on. It's that simple. And there are solutions for working on those things.
Tons of solutions.
Yeah, you just got to be willing to do it. You can't.
A lot of it's all natural ones, like sunlight in your eyes, sleep. Work out your legs, sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are very basic, and it's just all natural things.
Yeah, things that we did 100 years ago that we didn't need to. When you're working on building a building and you're carrying steel plates, it's easy to get sunlight and get a good workout in. But now when you just sitting at an office,
working at computers,
sitting at an office eating fast food,
and chairs are horrible for us too. Like sitting, depending on how you're slouched or how you're sitting.
Yeah, humans were never supposed to sit this way. Our normal rest position is the Asian squat.
Yeah,
and so we've been sitting this way for so long as Americans. Most Americans can't even do the Asian squat anymore.
Yeah.
So if you go to more impoverished countries like Africa, obviously that's a continent,
India
but
does it.
You go to countries, India, like places where everybody ain't just sitting in chairs all day. You'll see a lot of people doing what's called the Asian squat because, that's the natural human rested position.
That's so crazy. Would you ever move out of Texas, bro? If so, where?
Right now, I haven't even seen that far into the future. But once I have kids, whatever state that I'm in there, that's where I'm gonna be. So I want to start doing things outside of YouTube too. So I have a house, I have a wife, and once I have kids, I'm gonna start to try to help the community around me so that those kids can grow up in a better environment. My goals for YouTube, especially, they're starting to warp into goals in the real life, in the real world. So now I'm all into real estate. I want to go to some of these churches too, and I might be getting away from the original question.
You're
but
good, bro.
I want to start going into the churches and getting them to get these young boys in those churches together and funding those kids to learn trades. So I want to be able to take a group of boys, 10 boys, because it ain't that many young kids in church anymore. So I want to go to 4 or 5 churches and get some of them young boys on a Saturday, and we could go up to the mechanic shop and they can learn how to use their hands. Because I believe the school system has failed them. They go to school, and because they can't sit down for 5 hours straight, the women in the class that have more female characteristics will tell them that there's something wrong with them, and they'll send them to the office. Then they'll get put in special ed classes and get told that they need to be on drugs.
Taking meds, yeah.
Exactly, and it's because they're not doing anything tangible with their hands. A lot of them feel like they don't have any value. It's because they don't have any value to offer. They don't have a skill. When you have a skill, you have something that the more you do, the better you get at it, the more you get paid to do it, and you're independent. Now you can have your own opinion. You don't have to go and depend on somebody else for a job. So now you have to say, I believe trans rights, because you have your own shit where somebody needs you to do what you do.
Yep.
We need electricians. I don't care if my fucking if my electrician doesn't care about trans rights. I need him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if you're working in a a soulless corporation where you're just typing all day. You're doing less manly things that is going to drive you insane. You're not working with your hands. You're not building a service or real value for yourself so that if worst case scenario, you have something to lean on. So that's something I want to do in the near future in terms of getting involved in the community around me. So if I'm gonna if I start building my family here, this will probably be where I'm at for a while.
No, that's dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good goal. Like I think everybody who does the influencer stuff or does YouTube or anything like that, like we all have an end goal where we want to help people or we want to help things. It's a matter of trying to figure out how to do it. Like right now I'm doing a mentorship for guys and stuff, or you do like Hafiz with the standard. Like at the end of the day, we all really want to help men, but figuring out the best way to do it in a world where men don't want to be helped is the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding the men that want the help, which in the church, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Those are going to be people that
and I want to start it with boys. I don't, you know,
yeah, you
grown
can't
ass
change
men.
old men.
I don't care. Yeah, grown ass men. That's for them to do themselves. I think regardless of what happened in their past, now they have to make that decision for themselves. But for boys that before, while they're still looking up to you, while they still look up to you as a hero, that's when you implement your ideas onto them. After they stop looking at you as a hero and they start to see you as more of an equal, it's really hard to change people.
That's a huge deal.
So
man.
yeah, I want to start with the kids, with the boys.
Because now the guys that are like our age, like I have a big group of guys here in Dallas, and I met them all through like Fresh and Fit and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like the only people that like guys that will look up to are like Jay Waller or like, Tate, 6'4" plus, big muscles. You have to have all your buckets filled for a man to look up to you. Like look like a superhero.
Yeah.
For a grown man to look up to you.
Yeah.
You need to be a superhero.
Yeah, but for a kid, you just got to be active.
Yeah.
You just got to be around.
Literally.
You got to make sense. You got to be able to explain things to them in a way where they can make it make sense. And you got to be exciting. You got to be energetic, and willing to teach them. And almost anything you do, they'll look at you as a hero.
The cool thing is when you have kids, you'll have a lot more incentive to go and do stuff with kids,
exactly.
with your own kids.
Exactly. And that's kind of the transition that I'm trying to make. And that's why when I have my kids here, these will be that'll be the community that I want to stay in. Probably.
So easy to do it when you do it that way. Are you still competitive in any way, even though you're not playing sports?
Oh, well, a couple years ago I did some rugby stuff, but at this point in my life, it's risk versus reward. Like we talked about earlier, when you get to a certain age, you start to think about, you're like, do I really want to go out there and get hit and get injured? And I got to work in the morning. I don't want to be doing it with a pulled hamstring and whatnot. So, I think I could be competitive again. I still work out to the same degree I did when I was doing, well, not quite to the same degree, but I still do a lot of my track workouts, and I still lift pretty much every day with the exclusion of Wednesday and Sunday. So, so I think I could still be competitive if I wanted to get back into that mode, but it's just a matter of, is it worth it?
You're competitive with yourself in the gym. I really want to start a dodgeball tournament for the Manosphere.
Yeah. Oh, a dodgeball tournament,
bro. I want to because I think it would be so cool if each clique had their own team. Like Jay Waller had a team.
You know what you really should do, bro? And I think it'd be really good content is if you did one of those like smasher passes with like red pill dudes.
Oh,
like so you bring like MTR, Stephens Code, Lapiv, me, whoever it may be, just do a lineup, and then you just bring in some girls, and then they just do the smasher pass thing. I think that expose a lot of what's going on. Who really gonna hold their composure when them girls walk in?
No, for real.
But yeah, I think that'll be good content. But yeah, the dodgeball thing too. Just anything that gets a community, bro, because that's what people lack. People
I just want men to compete, bro. I'm a very competitive person. Like I'm practicing boxing. Like I want to box some of these big dudes that be talking shit all the time. And like I'm just competitive. I want us to compete. Like that's a good one-on-one thing. But I'm crazy about teamwork. I won multiple paintball tournaments, and it's just like I was captain of my team. Like I'm the type where I just like to lead people to victory in that way. And I love dodgeball. I love the movie. Yeah. It's really funny sports. It's like throwing a spear, which is what we did for years.
They said they say too that like competition boosts testosterone.
It does.
Winning especially boosts testosterone. When you compete and then you win, you have lots of. Some of my proudest moments in my life, bro, was when I competed and then the people cheer for me. And that's a high you can never get back. That's why there's a lot of competitors, they go and they bag groceries and they depressed for the rest of their lives. Or a lot of dudes, they want to go to the NFL and they be trying to pursue it till they 30 years old. Like you going to the NFL as a 26-year-old. It's because they get that high at an early age. And once you get honored by them people and you out there and you grind, you was grinding for what you got, it's hard to go back to just being a regular guy at Walmart, man.
That's why I have the grit that I have 1,000% is because I've always been such a winner in my, like when it comes to this YouTube stuff and just going as hard as possible. and just having the grit to never give up, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna put more in than anybody. Like I work a lot, bro. Like I probably work a good solid 7 hours to like, keep all the content running. Like I have it. I have a full calendar and like a full schedule every day. I
Mhm.
work about 6-7 hours on just the channel,
Yeah,
and I don't get paid for any of that. Like that's
exactly.
all like grit, bro. That's just
Ex-
all because I
And
know it.
and that's why anytime there's a fight that happens, I respect both the people in the fight, the winner and the loser, because it was their willingness to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes the man, the willingness to compete, regardless of if you're not doing as good as you want to do, or it's the willingness to get up every day, say, I'm going to dedicate myself to this and to do it. Regardless of if you become successful in it or not, that type of character is going to be successful at something.
Yeah.
And that's one of the advice that I have for women when it comes to them picking guys. Are you picking guys based on looks, or are you picking guys based on their credit score? Have they shown that they're able to work for 5 years straight?
Yeah.
Have they shown
They have a 401k?
Yeah, like they have discipline. If he wants to be a rapper, I don't know if that's what he wants to do, but is he the first one in and the last one out? Or is he just saying I want to be a rapper and he's sitting on the couch all day? Those are two totally different types of guys, because that level of discipline, even if he doesn't become a successful basketball player or rapper, that discipline is going to allow him to be successful in something. Exactly. Yeah. That's how you predict a winner as a woman. The only problem is right now women get blinded by just how good a person looks.
The diamonds, bro.
And yeah, and the lies too, like, you know, like what a person say instead of their actions. They don't realize that love is an action. Yeah. And any man that loves you is gonna be showing action. Yeah. And so yeah, and that's why I think that men were always important, and fathers and brothers were always important when picking guys, because if I'm your father, I don't care what he looks like.
Yeah.
I want to know what his credit score look like. Have you shown that you're able to show up to work every day for the past 5 years? Mm-hmm. Those are the important things when it comes to finding a protector and a provider as a man. So that's always my advice to women when they're trying to pick guys. And I think that discipline, that willingness to fight, is the most important thing a guy can have.
Yeah, it's called, like, so in a horse race they call it the dark horse, the one that's like the least likely to win, like the worst odds. And like I teach them how to find a dark horse, and I say purpose driven, grit, and what was the last thing? Purpose driven, grit, and I can't remember the last one, but like I always tell them, if you just follow these 3 things, like you're gonna find a guy who has that. It's not that hard. Do you have a good daily gym routine? Like, how does it work? Like, what do you usually do?
So usually I wake up, and I have a treadmill in my garage. I'll go hit the treadmill for maybe 10 minutes.
How many steps do you try to get in a day?
I try to get 15. I try to get 10,000 outside of my workout. Okay. So if I'm running on the treadmill, I try not to count that towards my 10,000.
You do running?
Yeah, I'll run for 10 minutes. I'll set it on 8.5 to 9. I'll do from 10 to 15 minutes. I have done up to 30, but I don't make that regular. But when I'm in the gym, I do a lot of explosive stuff because that seems to make the testosterone work the best.
Yes.
And sometimes I'll go to the track because there's just too many studies that show that when you move explosively, you just build more testosterone. You have a healthier life.
Doing like 100-meter sprint.
Yeah, I'll do 10 100 meters, or I'll do 8 200 meters. Sometimes I'll do 400 meters. It just depends. And for me, because I can move so fast that it becomes a hazard if I go my fastest, I don't go my fastest. But I do keep a really good. When I do those 100 meters, I do go probably about 80-85%. So I'm coming in at 11.2, 11.3, for those 100 meters. And
that's crazy for your age.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, and I take about a 2-minute rest in between those, or 2.5-minute rest, and I do 8 of them, 6 of them to 8, depending on the day.
That's crazy. So, I can't run anymore. I tore all the ligaments in my knee in a car wreck a couple of years ago, and but I can't really run. But I'm trying to do my 10-15K steps a day because I know that's like a huge deal. I'm trying to at least do 10,000 minimum.
Yeah,
shit, it's crazy.
No, yeah, it's good though. It's really good. And for anybody that's trying to lose weight, that's a great place to start. You don't have to all the stuff online. You don't need it all. They're selling shit. Anybody that tells you anything other than calories in, calories out is selling bullshit.
Yep.
It don't matter how many waist trainers you get. It doesn't matter how many supplements you buy or blah, blah, blah. The supplements are supposed to supplement what you're doing. What you have to do is burn more calories than you're eating. And that's the part a lot of people don't want to hear, because they want that get rich quick. They want that microwave, that idea that they can get it quick, abs in 60 seconds. And it's just a bunch of BS. You just got to get out there.
What do you think about fasting and stuff? Like the whole fasting?
Oh, I intermittent fast every day. So I haven't eaten yet. What time is it?
Yeah, no, I already had my first one, but yeah, I fast till about 3 or 4 every day.
Yeah, I fast usually. Well, I guess I had this White Claw that's got calories in it, so that probably stopped my fast at around 6 o'clock. But usually I'll fast.
So you just do like one big meal and then like some protein.
Yeah,
I'm guessing?
I'll do one big meal, and it's so I'm able to regulate my weight because I'm a shark, bro. I'll just eat. I'm a bottomless pit, bro. If I look at a cookie, I gain 2 pounds, bro, just from looking at a cookie.
See,
so I'm one of those guys,
bro. I'm the type where like I've always been skinny my whole life, but I've always kind of intermittent fasted without on purpose. Like just I always ate late every day.
Yeah, that ain't me, bro. I'll eat. I could eat 3, bro. It's crazy.
Well, it sounds like if you're running all the time and you're doing all this physical shit, you're gonna be hungry as hell,
exactly.
bro.
But that's what I do. I try to stay busy too, so I don't just think about food. Because you find out when you bored, it's real easy to just eat all day. So I like to stay busy throughout the day, and then when it comes to my time to eat, it feels so much better to eat when you've worked for it. All that breakfast bullshit, don't follow that shit. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. You don't deserve it.
Marketing, boy.
Yeah, that's just marketing, bro. They paid for that shit 70, 80 years ago to try to make it, and they paid the doctors off so they could make it the most important meal of the day, but it's a bunch of bullshit. Breakfast stands for break fast. Almost every religious text talks about the importance of fasting daily. So that's intermittent fasting. Skip breakfast. You don't deserve it. You haven't done anything yet. And if you can, skip lunch. If you can, if you're comfortable with that. And that's a good place to start.
Drink water and some
caffeine. And the American breakfast is probably the worst shit you could ever possibly eat, bro. We're going to do bread, and then we're going to put sugar on it. That, like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, we got bread and sugar. That's what the American breakfast is. You don't need that bullshit, bro. Stay away from the breakfast. Maybe a cup of coffee or tea. If you're fasting, you can drink black coffee or black tea, water. That's it. And then just wait for lunch and have a light lunch if that's what you need, or wait for dinner if you can start to discipline yourself enough to do it. And I'm telling you, the weight will go down. Intermittent fasting, it builds testosterone. It does all kinds of beautiful things. It makes you able to sleep better. It affects almost every good aspect in your life. If the benefits of working out and fasting was put in a pill, the line would be wrapped around Walgreens. But because it takes a little bit of work, nobody wants to do it.
That's so true.
If the benefits were in a pill, bro, the line would be wrapped around. Everybody would be going to pop those pills every day to get better sleep benefits, to have a higher libido, higher testosterone level, more motivation. Everybody to look better, feel better, be more confident because you look better and feel better. Everybody would be signing up to get that pill, but because it takes work, nobody wants to invest that into themselves. And that's crazy to me.
It is so crazy, bro, because yeah, like you said, we'll buy the pill in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What do you think is the deal with testosterone levels? Do you think that guys should get treatment? And if they do you think it should be natural, or they should just go get the shot? Do you think it's an age thing? If they're like 22 and they have low levels, like they should immediately get the shot, or they should try something natural? Like, what's your opinion on the testosterone stuff?
In all honesty, bro, I'm like, I try not to go too far into it because I'm not like a medical professional, so when it comes to like getting shots and stuff like that, I personally, I want to age naturally.
Same
if
here.
I'm 60, I don't need to have the testosterone level of a 25-year-old. I'm okay with having a good level of testosterone for a 60-year-old, or maybe the testosterone level of about a 40-year-old. You know what I'm saying? But so I do want to age naturally, so I'm always going to go the natural route. I'm always going to sign up for that.
Here,
I'm not a big pharma guy. I think that people have lived to buy themselves without these pharmaceutical companies for hundreds of thousands of years, and I don't think we need it now. I've never been a big advocate for any type of thing from the pharmaceutical companies. There are plenty of things like Tomcat Ali. And I know what's the guy, Andrew Huberman, talks a lot about this stuff. He has an entire podcast on boosting your testosterone. I recommend everybody watch it.
You should watch all of his podcasts.
Yeah, bro.
They all change
so
your
articulate,
life, bro.
Like he's a neuroscientist. Like he's an MIT guy, right? Like a super intelligent. Yeah, like so he knows his shit, bro. And it's just so eye opening when you hear how bad the testosterone epidemic is in America. Since 1989. Every year since then, the average American has been going down 1%. So if you're a 25-year-old in 2022, or in 2023, you have about 39% less testosterone than the average 25-year-old in 1989. And that's from the plastics. That's from people getting fatter. That's from all the poison and all the bullshit, bro. That's from us being just hypnotized with bullshit. Propaganda. So
definitely being fat, because
a lot of it is being
aromatizes.
A lot of it is being obese. Yeah, and look, and here's another part. A lot of people don't know that the body positivity movement was funded by snack corporations. A lot of people don't know that, bro. Yeah, so like there was a video that was out, and maybe over the podcast you could just put this clip in there, and I could send you the clip exactly, where there's a woman saying, "Oh, and all foods are the same. You shouldn't be biased against food. A donut," and this is what she said, not me making it up. a donut is just as healthy as an apple. An apple pie is just as healthy as an apple. And it turns out she was the head marketer for Nestle.
Oh no!
Who the fuck would have guessed? Right? So you got these companies that are basically pushing that bullshit on us. The women are out of the house, so nobody's home to cook. So you're eating more fast food. Men are becoming obese. We got to do better with our testosterone levels, bro.
Women because of it. Do you consider yourself more TradCon or red pill? You'd say.
What's the? I see a lot of overlap in the two.
Yeah, me too. That's why I started the show, because I always felt like I was right in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
And like, no, I think TradCon is just more religious people, and then just red pill is more like praxeology, sciencey people. You know.
Yeah.
And like, I try to be in the middle because I think that the world is nuanced.
Well, I think they take a lot of the ideas from religion.
Yeah.
In the red pill,
yeah,
a lot of the tradition part, but then they kind of
give the first book that was giving descriptions and then prescriptions on how to do it, whereas the stats are just descriptions that we go by.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the red pill though is it makes it in a more modern sense, where the men have to now behave differently because we're in a totally different environment and we're dealing with totally different types of women that now have certain freedoms that they didn't have in that biblical time period. Yeah. But there's a lot of stories in the Bible that talk about these types of situations
coming up.
Yeah. Like, and so I think they're very similar. Like if you know the story, and to me, I think the Bible is so important because those stories were passed down for thousands of years for a reason, bro. Like there's not, and then if you look at so many similarities amongst other religions, how did the people, that were created the Bible knew that the Muslims kind of thought about the same exact ideas? And they're all just stories, not literal maybe, but they're all stories so that you can understand the idea. The reason why people give storytelling is because it's easier to convey the idea over long periods of time. So they did it in stories, but they're important lessons. Like, a lot of people don't know about Genesis 1. There's Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And in some religions, they believe in Genesis 1. And in Genesis 1, Adam got made from equal elements as his first wife. And his first wife was named Lilith. Now, because they were made out of the same material, Lilith wanted to be just like Adam. And because she couldn't be like Adam, she eventually fled the Garden of Eden and became a demon, essentially.
Yeah.
And so her new challenge as a demon is to seduce men and kill unborn babies. What type of ideology does that sound like that we're dealing with modernly, that the Bible was maybe trying to warn us about? One of the first stories in the Bible that could be happening now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, so the stories have meanings in our current environment, and they're trying to protect us from falling into certain pitfalls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things that have already happened in the past. It seems like it's all just repeating to me.
No, I agree with you. Everything that you just said, like Joseph Campbell is like my biggest person behind religion that I like, and he teaches like the hero's journey and stuff, and just he kind of shows how a lot of religions are the same, or they're just teaching lessons. All these stories are just for lessons. And like, I completely agree with you. One of my favorite things I talk about is like the Adam and Eve story. I truly believe the entire point of the story of why Eve was the one that bit the fruit was because if women fall to temptation, we both fall out of Eden.
Yes.
Because all it takes, because like a guy can fall to temptation and go get his dick sucked or whatever, he can come back to his family and they can still be okay.
Yes.
Like he didn't have an affair, you know? Whereas like if a woman though, if she falls to her pleasures, we're both screwed. Yeah. Like we're like, once you start sleeping around, it's like, oh, we're all
because the men are going to do what the women need.
Yes.
The men are we're designed to behave in a way that's going to allow us to procreate. So if women want assholes, more men are going to become assholes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I 100% agree with you.
So that's why like my biggest stance on my show is y'all have to keep your legs closed. Like, and they hate it when I say that, but it's just like, bro, it's the only way.
It's because they don't understand that historically speaking, there was a reason why female promiscuity was always frowned upon, and one of those reasons is like syphilis.
Yeah.
It literally wiped out entire societies and civilizations due to people sleeping around. It turns out that women are more viable for diseases because diseases like wet, warm places.
Yeah.
And so, if you're a culture 1,000 years ago, you don't want women to be promiscuous because it could spread disease. Syphilis was a disease I forget what it is. It could be a disease, a virus, something like that. But it affects the woman and the unborn child. And it was wiping out entire civilizations. They also preached it because it was dangerous for the woman. When you were having a child in a time where if you got a cut, you had to cut your arm off and throw it in a hole because there wasn't modern medicine. It was very dangerous to have children at that time. And it still is dangerous, but it was way more dangerous in that time period. You have to understand, like, imagine the Indians in Minnesota when it's -9 degrees and people are just having children. You got to be very structured with the children that you have. That plus, you know, the paternity reasons, men wanted to know who the
father was,
who the father of their children were, and if you were sleeping with other men or had slept with other men, it was always frowned upon because we didn't have modern DNA tests. So it's just like ingrained inside of us.
It's like the most red pill truth ever, though, from the Bible. Like, to me, it's the most red pill story ever, you know. And like, people just don't like. I hate fundamentalists. Like, I hate when people read the Bible and they see it all as literal, like everything, because it's like, bro, I'm the opposite of you. I see it all as all analogies, or they're all stories. It's all lessons. You know, I think people were just super. Even Jesus's story, like, it bothers me when a lot of people be fundamentalist. I mean, I believe Jesus was true. Like, if there's anything that I'm super scientific about, it's the whole Jesus story. Like, I believe there's 500 people that saw him, you know, be resurrected. Like, there's a lot of science behind Jesus being real. So I'm a very scientifically, I believe in Christianity, but I'm very like open to all religions. Like, I like taking the best from everything.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people, and we've kind of lost that, because it's important for people to think that there's somebody above themselves that can see all of their negative deeds, so that they have to be honest about what they're doing. Humility. So like, so when you pray, you're essentially showing gratitude for the good things you have in life, which is known to be a good thing in general for human beings. Exactly. You're praying to show gratitude for the good things you have in life. You recognize all of the good things you have in your life, so you're not just so pessimistic walking through life, because you realize, at least I get to breathe. That's when you pray. Not only that, but you have to attain for the things that you did in the dark, because you believe this entity can see it. Yeah. So, and you have to be honest about it makes you honest. That plus it builds a community where everybody has the same social ideas. So now I can trust you more. If I now, with people just being atheists, if I send my kids to a friend's house, I don't know if their parents, you know, want to be transgender, and they're going to implement that shit onto my kids. So now I'm less communal, because we don't have the same belief systems. You know what I'm saying?
Such a good point.
Yeah, so that all that stuff is important with building community, and I think that people have lost that. The church, having other people around you to hold you accountable to be a better person. Those are all important things. And when the COVID happened, everybody ran away from the church because they didn't want to be held accountable for their actions anymore. So it's, you know, people are just saying they're spiritual now, which is essentially saying they're religious, but they don't practice any other doctrine, which is essentially like saying you're on a diet, but you can eat whatever you want, which doesn't make any sense. So yeah, the whole spiritual movement, just believing in rocks and crystals and all that other bullshit, is because people didn't want to be held accountable in the church for their bad behavior. And so they left those communities. And I think that's a problem. But I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I think that the pastors had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, they were pandering to the women for the money.
Yes, they were pandering to the women for the money. They need to keep
the church open. I mean, can you blame them? They have bills to pay, you know?
I mean, I do blame them a little bit, because it's not about having the biggest church. The church is supposed to be the body, the people. You know what I'm saying? Like the group, the spirit that lies within the group. Now it became more about the pastor having red bottom Louis Vuitton shoes on, and the women in the front row wearing no clothes, and the pastor not even telling them about it because he don't mind seeing it. Because he trying to fuck them all. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, they started depending to the women because they wanted to fuck the women and get the money from the women. And I think that just caused a lot of negativity. As the women
started making more money too, it was like they kind of like
and they started the message became less
biblically patriarchy and more feminine.
And to be honest, I think that women drag men to the church because I think, honestly, and I'm gonna be honest about this, I think a man's nature, I think the Bible was made for men. I think the Bible was always put into a male's perspective because the Bible was made to give men morality.
That's true.
Because we're capable of being immoral. We're very easily capable of being immoral. So it is to give the men the discipline, the morality that we need in order to have a family and to go, I'm not going to kill my neighbor if he, steals my package.
God, man, woman. It's always been that way.
So I believe that it's important for men to get back into those churches, but to do that, you got to actually make it more patriarchal. You have to be more honest. And one of the things that drove me away, because when I was in high school, I was a very biblical guy. You couldn't catch me without my Bible. I didn't even swear.
Same here, bro.
Yeah, so I would say I got my moral backing from religion, even though I turned away from it later on in life. And now I'm realizing the truths and turning my way back. But at that time, it was the frustration of the fact that nobody was holding each other accountable for breaking the rules. So people were just using it as a metric to virtue. They go, I'm a Christian because they want to be seen as a virtuous human being, but they would never practice any other religious law.
I hate virtue signaling so much, bro.
Yeah, so it never made sense. So I heard the story one time where somebody said, where there was a kid that wanted a bike, and instead of instead of praying for the bike, he stole the bike and asked for forgiveness. And I've seen a lot of people stealing the bike and asking for forgiveness, as if God is some dummy, as if you can go out and completely repeat the same sins and just disrespect God by just coming on Sunday and acting like it's all good and never holding yourself to any standard. So that was kind of the frustrating point to me. And then I said myself, I'd rather be not called a Christian than to be a bad Christian.
Yeah.
Because if you're a bad Christian, you're a bad example of a Christian, and other Christians around you are going to think they can do what you're doing and still be counted as a Christian. So that's kind of what turned me away a little bit. But like you said, like, as we get older, you start to figure things out again, and you start to get a different perspective. So.
Yeah, no, we're definitely changing. All religions changing as time goes on. What do you think about each of the space though, like Tricon and Red Pill? Like, do you even try to associate with either sides, or you're just like, no, I'm in the middle and I don't really care about what y'all are doing?
Yeah, I'm just kind of me.
You
know, I do
middle?
have red pill ideas, and I am considered a red pill content creator. I never shy away from that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say I'm
You'll own
red
it, yeah.
pill or track. I'm kind of both, in all honesty. I've been
That's
married
how I
to
am too, bro.
I'm married to the woman that I've been with for 14 years. I mean,
You can
that's
be both.
very TradCon, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do believe that men have a responsibility to provide for their families, to the best of their ability. I think times have changed now, but yeah. Well, I consider myself to be right in the middle. Yeah, I don't have a problem with identifying with either. I'm not ashamed of being either. But yeah, I'm definitely in the middle, because some of the red pill ideologies I hear are ridiculous and they should be mocked and made fun of.
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that too. I'm willing to mock some.
That's probably like the biggest reason why I get hate, is because I will scream very loud that I disagree.
Yeah.
Most of them is like the 50 body count
like,
thing for Myron and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just don't understand how you would promote from. I understand what he's saying, but to me personally, you don't need to sleep with the women in order to understand the women differently. But I will say this too. As your biological imperative as a man, is going to be very hard for me to convince a virgin or a guy that's only been able to sleep with one woman that when he gets his money, for him to not indulge.
Yeah.
Because he's been waiting to do that. It's just his biology.
Like
it's literally everything you do everything for as a man.
Yeah.
You do everything for the sake of getting female validation, attention, or to have a family.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think I understand why so many men resonate with that message, but that's our nature. But once you implement that religion and you get the morals and you get the discipline, you supersede your nature for the sake of being good. Mm. And I think that's what a lot of men should do, versus just catching insane amounts of bodies.
I just like the relationships. I just want guys to be in. For me personally, I was always more successful in my life because of relationships. Like, because when I'm not in a relationship, I'm crazy. I'm outside doing way too much shit. Whereas a relationship makes me concentrate on money and saving and being smart. So
the women are important, bro. Like, they keep you from crashing out. They keep you so you have something to live for. Like, certain things I just won't do because I have a person to live for. Like, versus if I'm single,
to lose.
Yeah, I got something to lose. I don't like to hang around people that ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
that's the big part of it.
No, like that's my only beef against all of this. I just want people to do better, and sometimes it might be better to be in a relationship. Do you like, what do you say to people when they don't like what you do? Like, do you ever talk to people or see people and they don't like what you do at all?
People are very different online than they are in person.
Yeah, even if they didn't like what you say, they'd never say it to your face.
Yeah, and even if they do, I have a way to back it up, and I'm articulate enough to defend my positions in a way, and I'm considerate enough of other people in order to say it in a way where they're going to receive it. So I'm not just going to be disrespectful to them because I think things differently. I'll put it in a way where they can understand. I'm sorry about that. I'll put it in a way where they can understand what I'm saying, so in person. And I've ran into this situation with numerous people where they ask me what I do, and I tell them I'm a men's advocate. I do a reaction channel. I give them the spin down or rundown of what I do, and it always comes with more questions, but I have no problem ever answering them because, I mean, what I'm saying makes sense, and most of the people agree with me. They want the men to pay all the bills, but that means you're gonna be cooking. That's the part. That's how you get them. Well, that's part of the things I do right away. I believe men should pay bills. I believe men should take care of their family. Oh, he believes they should pay bills. But if he paying them bills, you need to be cooking.
Yeah.
If he's doing majority of the paying for the if he's doing majority of the payments, you need to be doing majority of the housework. You can't complain. Yeah. You can't complain that you have to do majority of the housework, because I see that that people complain about that a lot. But do you pay majority of the bills? Usually not. Yeah. So I think that there's a balance, and usually once you show them I start with the masculine responsibilities first before I talk about the female responsibilities,
You're
and that's
smart.
what allows them to really understand it.
That is the best way to do it every
Yeah.
time. That's so a big part of my show is I trash men a lot for the most of the time because I have to say both. Like I have to tell ladies, well, men are bad if they do this, but you're fucking bad if you did this though.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it kind of makes them understand a little bit easier. I feel like. What does your family fully support everything that you do?
Yeah, because I fully support them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, in terms of like, I take care of the people around me.
That's
So
good.
it's really hard when we came from a lower environment for one of us to be doing better, articulate, responsible, respectful. It's not like I'm out here treating people poorly, making bad decisions, going in and out of jail. Regardless of what I'm doing, as long as I'm doing it with the goodness in my heart, like being responsible and trying to be a good person, regardless if they agree or disagree, they're always going to support it.
Yeah.
And usually over time, from having the conversations and me just being very how I am, like just chill, they agree with me.
Yeah.
It's really hard to not. I mean, who doesn't like family?
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, my family doesn't like what I do. They definitely
Really?
like it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have 4 sisters.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna always be hard. Like I lived in the most gynocentric life possible. Like my mom owned a hair salon.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like the reason why I'm so good with women and I have so many women that are my friends though is because it was natural to me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, that's not a good thing. I have some natural bitch tendencies. I have some natural things that would make me more feminine, as some people would say.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's not a good thing at
Yo,
all.
but I mean,
but
it gives you a perspective, though.
I went, yeah, exactly. I went into the dark cave so I could come back and give the treasures to my community and teach the men, you know, what I learned from going all the way down that dark tunnel. You know?
Like I have a sister too, and you know, just at that age before them hormones kick in and they want to have them babies and settle down and not have to work and have responsibilities, they believe that they can be what they see on TV. But my sister, she don't want to do nothing. So I'm like, shit, look, you gonna have to pick one. Either you're gonna have to start to learn to be productive, and you're gonna have to be doing that for the next. And I put it in this perspective for you out of high school now, so you got 80 years of going to work every day, and you don't like going to work. You can either do that, or you can learn how to be a good wife. And you're gonna have to learn to do it because it is a skill that shouldn't be underappreciated. Yeah. So there's a lot of women that believe they could just be career women until the age where they realize they don't want to have to pay bills and they want to have a family, and then they go, I'm just gonna be a wife. And then they fail at it because they don't have any skills of being a wife. They were trying to be a lawyer their whole life.
Yeah.
It's a skill. You have to learn patience. You have to learn to be malleable. You have to learn to be respectful and be careful about what you say to a man. You have to learn how to cook, like good recipes. You have to be able to cook good, healthy food. Yeah. And you know, so all those things are skills. You have to learn how to be a tool to benefit your husband, to motivate him to want to be a better person.
That's such a big one that people don't think about.
Yeah, it's a really powerful manipulation tool that women have, and women can manipulate in 2 ways. Unfortunately, women are being taught that they should manipulate in a way that's just sexual and make it transactional. But there's another way they can manipulate where they tell their man, "Oh, baby, you look good today. You look strong." Now he walking into work like this with his little lunch in his hand, telling the boss he need a raise because his wife told him he's the strongest man in the world. And even if she lying a little bit to manipulate him a little bit, you know, she's using it in a way that's going to benefit him.
Bro, so, I need you on my night show to teach these ladies sometimes, bro. Some of the shit you spit is some of the strongest fire I've ever heard.
Yeah, bro, yeah, I come on,
God, bro, like if I could just mimic what you just said or just, bro, that's just such a good point, bro. I like to tell ladies, like, you know how men are super strong and physically big? Ladies, you have that same power, but emotionally.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. You know, but that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, most men just want to be appreciated. There's so many men, especially when you're single, you go through your entire life without being appreciated. If one person shows that they appreciate you for the hard work that you do every single day, you'll give them the shirt off your back as a man. That's just what it is. Being masculine comes with a lot of responsibility, and people don't understand that. That's why when women are feminists, it's not really masculine, because it doesn't have the responsibility that men are willing to take on. When you get $1 million and you say you don't want a family, you don't need a man, that's not the same responsibility as masculinity. That's just some dark hole, some void.
And all a man wants when he has $1 million is
for a family. Yeah. Or at least a girl at the very least.
Family,
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make them masculine. It makes them I don't know, whatever that is. Something in between
Lilith,
that's just
bro.
dark. Yeah. So
Bro, this was by far like probably one of the most insightful conversations I've ever had with somebody, honestly.
I appreciate that,
from
bro.
the YouTube talks to just knowing that like we're two opposite ends of a spectrum, like like my life and my history, and I'm very opposite of you. You got married, to your high school sweetheart, and like y'all lost your virginity, but at the same time we both have the same goal,
Hmm.
like an exact same goal almost. Like I would say that you're very purple pill like me,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and we definitely have like I don't know, I feel like it's men like us that are going to be pushing the world into a better place over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of darkness right now, and we're the light, or
Hmm.
there's some people preaching the light, and we got to stick together, bro. So I really cannot say thank you enough for coming on the show. This was by far, like I said, the most insightful interview I probably ever had.
Appreciate it, bro.
I learned so much. I know the audience is gonna learn a shit ton too, because I teach a lot of guys about YouTube and stuff,
Hmm.
and I know a lot of them are gonna love some of this info because of that. I really can't say it. I know you didn't have to come do this at all. You're huge on YouTube compared to me, and I've been watching you for a couple of years now, and just to have this opportunity, bro, it's the coolest thing in the
Yeah,
world,
well,
honestly,
I mean,
man.
well, shit, you earned it, bro. You've been consistent. You've been talking to me consistently, and that's what you got to do to find your opportunity as a guy. To find that big break, it takes a lot of consistency. It takes a lot of tenacity, and it takes it takes you to be able to go. Come on, let's get and they keep asking. Come on, when we gonna do the show? When
Yeah,
we gonna do the show? When we gonna do?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
never
what.
gave up,
But
bro.
that's what it takes, though. That's how you get in them doors. I did the same thing when I was emailing them people to be on the rugby team. I was bothering them.
So true,
And
dude.
so that's what you got to do. And I wouldn't say that it bothered me. I had a few things that I had to figure out myself on my end. I wanted to do the videos consistently and whatnot. But I'm happy you had me, bro. I enjoy. I really enjoyed this conversation.
I really can't say that. I know that my audience is gonna love this video, just because, like I said, you're so similar actually to me in a lot of ways, but like same but
Yeah, like a
different.
different cloud. Yeah, I see.
And
I see
like,
what you're saying.
and I love that. Like, if there's anything how like you sometimes meet people, like I like to say, like Jay Waller said this, like fuck blood, fuck friends that I've known for 20, like fuck time, like fuck that. Like all I care about is people that I align with,
Hmm.
and anytime I meet somebody that I align with, it's like I met somebody that's better than blood and better than time to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just happy, like I know I got to learn all this stuff about, because on your channel, bro, we don't get to learn a lot about you,
yeah.
and so now that I've learned all this, it's like, bro, it's so cool to find another person in Dallas that's like this. I really can't say thanks enough. Do you have anything you want to promote though, like your channel and stuff, so everybody can go find you?
Well, I got a channel on YouTube called the Poor Man's Podcast Reacts. You can look it up. I have a Instagram called poor.mans.podcast. You can find me there too. Um, but other than that, that's it, bro.
Dude, thank you so much. Like I said, greatest show I probably will ever have on here. I think you did better than Sterling's interview and MLD's interview and all
Appreciate
the
that,
other
bro.
big people.
Appreciate
I've
that.
had a lot of pretty good sized people, but this was the one that made me feel the most fulfilled, man. I really appreciate it. Where's the mouse at? Did I leave the mouse over there? Well, let me go grab the mouse. But yeah, guys, we will see y'all later, man. Peace out. Thank you so much, bro.